Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
David! Don't fuck with me, fellas! David, what does burning smell like?
Oh my god, is this not your mother's recipe?
Yes, and now I'm passing it on to you. So try to keep up.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Wherever you go, you can listen to the news. You can swing with the blues on this wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Take a portable radio.
Now, here comes the music.
And here comes the show. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is us on a Tuesday night, Studio C, coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona, where we do it once a year. We've reached 100 degrees today.
Oh, yay.
My God.
Kind of late. I feel like we coasted into a
right
goodly portion
on
of April.
time,
We
right
do.
around Pride Weekend.
Yeah,
always 100 degrees.
100%. I agree with you on that. Yeah,
But I feel like there's one day of bitching in March
sure.
where someone screams and yells at, oh, they're 100!
And then we'll have like a week where we get down to 75 for a couple days. We're like, oh my God, this is fabulous. And then it just goes, and
Yeah,
we're
then
done.
you're just in hell.
Right, for the rest of the summer.
Forever.
Oh, my heaven's sakes alive. Well, everybody, we are here. Ket Carlson's here. Marnie is on her way. Al Perkins, I'm Clayton. Almost forgot my name. I'm Clayton McKee.
Oh, Leighton.
Welcome to all of you. Oh, we're here. My God. Ket
We're
Carlson,
here.
I'm going to tell you a little funny story.
Tell me a story.
Not to you, but to the general public. That it's about Ket
Can I
Carlson.
listen to?
Yeah,
Oh,
because it's about
Ket
you.
Carlson. Oh, that's a fun story.
So sometimes
My
when
favorite kind of story.
sometimes right, if I tell a story later about Al, he'll love that one too.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
When people, and you'll all understand this because we've all been through these experiences before. When people text you, it is not always that you can detect the tone in which the text is meant. Earlier today, I get a text from Ket Carlson, and it says, just in text, are we having a show tonight? Now, it wasn't like, are we having a show tonight?
Right.
Or are we having a show tonight? I had no idea which one.
Right.
I found out that my response of yes was a letdown for Kat because she has not fully recovered from 2 days outside at the Pride grounds serving drinks.
It was 100%. Are we having a show tonight? Crap. All right, I'll be there.
Maybe we should remember this for future episodes or future big events on the weekends. And maybe we should just skip the post week because the recovery time.
I feel like we save this every year.
We
though.
may do.
But in years and in years past, we have skipped the post Pride show.
Well, probably because I was involved
Right,
more and I
for
decided
recovery
it.
reasons.
Yeah. I didn't. I recovered on. Well, I didn't really. Like I didn't over drink or do any of that stuff this year. I was pretty mild with everything.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
yeah.
I didn't drink this
How
year
were the
either.
performers? The only thing
No idea.
the only thing I saw
I didn't
was,
go at all
Well,
to the festival at all. Period.
apparently, I didn't know who this young man was, but apparently he's a big deal. Some Hernandez kid that's like
David.
from here, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't.
How,
fucking know.
I'm honestly surprised you don't know who David Hernandez is.
I have no idea who he
just
is.
from being in Phoenix.
But
Okay,
I don't care.
got it. Well,
I think isn't he like American Idol or something?
Was.
Then he's
Yeah.
definitely
he was
no one I give
he
a
was
shit about.
eliminated when it all blew up that he used to be a stripper.
Right. Yeah, I heard all the stories
Yeah.
over the weekend, but apparently, not knowing who he was and being the Nazi bitch that I am behind a bar,
Oh. He walked up.
he walked up to get a drink after I had already called it done, and he's like, "Hey, I'm one of the performers in La La La." And I'm like, "Sorry, honey."
Oh,
So long.
That worked good.
And so one of the guys that was working with me like came up to me and was like, oh my god, you just told is it David
David.
you just told David Hernandez no you don't. And my mother could come and ask me for a drink right now and I'd tell her the fuck no.
I'm done. Yeah.
It's Sunday night at 8:40.
Right, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Nope.
There's bars open all around here.
Yeah. There
Oh,
are
absolutely.
A ton of gay bars that are dying to have your money.
Sure.
Yeah, and because I saw somebody posted a live video of him singing a little bit of Purple Rain, and
Oh, no idea.
that was as close as I got to sing it. But I was curious to see how Thelma Houston looked or was.
The video that I
never
saw
know.
of her, she looked great. She was very energetic on stage. She was in, I believe, a white outfit. But I didn't hear anything other than that.
Yeah, because
But-
like 23, 24 years ago, there was that club way up north, that cabaret club way up north on Central. Now I can't remember what the hell it was called, but Rip Taylor and
Oh yeah, it's still there, but it's called something else now.
Yeah.
I think it's called the Wagon Wheel now. But it was Paris After Dark. That's what it was.
yeah, and Thelma Houston and Rip Taylor were the
Yeah.
the
The highlights.
Headliners.
Headliners.
headliners. There's highlighters. That sounds wrong. Headliners.
And
for
the
the
name
event.
of a strip club.
Yeah. So that was
One
that-
of the nicer ones, as I understand
Oh,
it.
So
sure.
and, and I thought, wow, she looks pretty well preserved then, and it was only like 93, 94.
Right.
So like, it's been a minute. How's she looking now?
I don't know.
Her weave looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure how else to describe that really, but I think it all seemed to come together. But no, but it's very funny that you don't know who David is. And
I don't.
I mean, he's making the rounds and doing his thing. He sings routinely out in the L.A. and San Diego area with Jay Rodriguez, who used to be on. Oh my God,
Queer Eye.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I was gonna say
Okay,
Fab
sure,
Five.
sure.
So they're friends. They do cabarets together, and he sings here and there and travels. And actually, to my surprise, David travels. Like other countries for some, like I don't know if it's gonna be like a David Hasselhoff thing where he's really big in Germany and not as popular as a singer.
Oh, perhaps.
Maybe in his own country, I'm not sure, but
Sure.
he does travel around and do things.
Interesting.
I always laugh about the fact that he got kicked off of, part of the political bullshit. He got removed from American Idol.
No, he just got voted off. It all broke at the same time, but he just got voted off.
Well, I'm gonna finish my story.
Okay.
I just thought it was funny that all broke and that all, he was eliminated however he was eliminated. And then he appeared on Ellen. And as he sang on Ellen, and then as they were cutting to commercial, the camera pulls out of the stage and the applause of the audience, and he grabs the mic stand and starts to grind on the mic stand like he's stripping, and
Right.
she's laughing at him. And I'm like, just play it. I guess at this point, you're
Yeah.
just going to work it for every
Just go for
angle
it,
you've
sure.
got.
Are we on?
Yes, we're on. Why? What are you thinking we're not on?
Oh, it says we're live now, but we're not on the screen.
Well, we're live. We're on.
Oh, I know what's happened.
I don't know what's happened.
Okay, no, my sister was just asking. I'll get it back with her. So It was Beatles week. Picture it. Whatever
Picture it.
year it was. And
Okay.
it was Beatles week. I feel like it was the first week of like the top 12 or top whatever it was. Wasn't top 10. I don't think.
Are we still talking about American Idol?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they got the Beatles. It was a big deal because they got the Beatles catalog.
Right.
Right.
But they didn't get the George Harrison catalog. So, as my brother-in-law will tell you, not the same thing.
Not the same.
You need your George Harrison. So they had gotten the Beatles catalog. They finally went with like big ass bands. Like they kind of changed the format, and all of a sudden it was a full band behind them. And like the one girl got to get you into my life with the horn section and kind of got blown away. Like everybody was just
It's a great song.
off their game. Yeah, but she was
Oh.
not ready from going to where it used to be like karaoke with like a 3-piece band.
And all of a sudden you got an orchestra behind you.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
and all of a
full-on
sudden-
horn section.
A full-on
right.
horn section, and she was competing with that, and
Oh,
so
that's so good.
because they went with the Earth, Wind, and Fire version.
That's
and
exactly
yada,
what I was
yada,
gonna
yada. And he came on and he talked about having taken a Beatles course in college,
Smart.
and then he sang like one of their two worst songs. Like it was either "I Want to Hold Your Hand." No, I didn't think it was that one.
No.
He sang like.
I'll find
One
out.
of the girl, he sang one of the
Can't
like
Bend
the
Yellow Submarine.
hippy dippy like no, like he completely ignored their interesting years and went
Right,
with
went
like
with a-
their
a
went
terrible
with their
song.
like I'm gonna be a boy band singer, you know what I mean? Like he went a different route,
Okay.
and he was up against Adam Lambert, who blew it away. Like he was the least interesting. Unfortunately, the stripper part was the least interesting story that year because he was against like one of the best years for the guy with the long hair that did Hallelujah. Like it was a great year for male singers. And his right out of the gate, his little package came off wrong. His about learning about the Beatles, and then the song was just so like
Right.
really you went to
Really, this
college
one?
about the Beatles and you went with that.
Yeah.
Nothing interesting, like no "Oh Darling" or like something with like
Oh, that's
rangy
also
and
a
like
great song.
right. They're so right. And what he went with was like the most lame ass, and he did it like a boy band singer. When he has a terrific voice, he's a very talented man, very talented. And it was just a silly.
Was it Paperback Writer?
Hang on, I'm trying to figure it out.
It's
trying to-
one of their first
Also
songs, but not "I Want to Hold Your Hand." Like, I don't know. And I just
Hernanda, oh, he performed. I saw her standing there.
Yeah, and it was just one of those goofy, like, oh come on.
All right.
And he
I
did
feel
it
like
boy
that-
bandish, where everybody else,
Yeah.
but like, you can't compete with those horns. And the girl that shouldn't have made it, that got blown away by the horns,
Right.
people voted for her because you just had pity for her, because you could see her turn around like, who the fuck are you people?
I got 4 guys going.
Yeah,
Here.
I can't sing along with that.
Exactly. Oh, good
Well, it
times.
wasn't
though.
personal, David. I didn't know who you were, and I still don't. So.
And yeah, he's
And closing time is closing time.
exactly.
Oh, by the by,
Which he knows, he worked at a bar.
but bummer. Remember who he ran around with all the time? Another singer, heavier set black guy. I
Yeah,
can't remember
remember his
his name. Still in a coma in Chicago.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, he's been there for some time. I was following David's. What can I think of his name? Starts with an S. Sam, Sal, Sim.
Ruben Stoddard.
No.
Yeah,
Kind of
and
Shaming
the
guy,
chances of me pulling that out of my ass are
I'll
absolute
I'll get
zero.
to it here in a minute. But yeah, unfortunately, he because they grew up, they spent a lot. They were best of friends, and they always sang everywhere together and whatnot. But yeah, he unfortunately is he's not doing well in Chicago right now. But David is still running around and touring and doing whatnot. So and then if I'm not mistaken, well, you were working, so you would not have seen it. But I was at Rebar on Sunday afternoon, and they left because they had ticket. They still had their passes and were going back to see David. So Mark Howard and the whole group of all of them from Rebar took off,
yeah, I
and
saw
apparently Barbara Seville grabs Mark Howard out of the audience, brings him on stage, and Mark Howard introduces David. Which
Oh, that's
I'm
lovely.
hoping somewhere there's video of that, because I know how wasted Mr. Howard was when he left Rebar, and that's a 1.5-mile, 2-mile trip from bar to Pride. So I don't think there's a lot of sober up time there. I'll have to find out if there's video of Mark somewhere for that little deal.
And it was just a random live video that I caught, and I was like, oh, and he still looks good. Good look, you know.
Oh,
good-
David's always looked good, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I first met him, I remember. Well, when I first met David, and now this has been 13, 14 years ago, he was driving a little blue S10 truck, a little newer than mine is, but I was trying to work my way into figuring out how to spend more time with him by offering services because he had a door handle on the passenger door that was broken. And I was trying to figure, well, I could fix that for you. And I was trying to, work my way in. Didn't
Smart.
work. Didn't
Thank you.
work.
Yeah.
Didn't work. He bought another vehicle. Bastard.
Oh, Sly.
Sly. Thank you, Mark. That is correct. It is Sly.
Hi, Mark.
Who is there? Oh, and could be listening. Maybe they took, for some reason, I don't know why, maybe they would turn us on and Sly lays in bed and listens to us in his.
That's a shame, though.
Yeah, it really was completely unexpected.
This is not the show to get you out of a coma, though. Like, turn this off.
No, but potentially.
It's gonna keep you there, sound
No, but
asleep.
potentially it could be from the standpoint of
If he starts screaming,
they
like
wake
a cat,
up. Yeah, I mean, if we have
Start
a
singing
Natalie Cole song.
Start singing Natalie Cole.
No, but I mean,
wake
what
right
a better-
No,
what
Leslie Carey back really threw me over the edge.
What a better way to come out of a coma is than to wake up enough to get this shut off.
Yeah. Wilson Phillips that shit.
Right?
We're going to administer the Wilson Phillips test here in a minute, and then we'll take the organs. Mr. Perkins doesn't sit up and turn that shit off.
Just hold on for one more day.
Yeah, he's brain dead.
Things will go your way.
Yeah.
Hold
So
on.
this
Hold on,
is
just for one more.
this is our.
I know. It's kind of like, okay, wait.
What? Oh.
I got a pulse. Oh. So you said that Saturday was not a good day. Sunday was a good day. I don't know what happened or had actually anything to do with Pride itself. But I'm curious to hear battle stories if you care to share. If not, we'll do it after the show.
No, we just had some. We had some setup challenges. Just some things kind of got pushed off in setup, as happens. There are other priorities, and sometimes the little bar and VIP kind of falls to the wayside. And so I showed up Friday to try and get myself organized and see what all I needed.
Oh no, that didn't work, did it?
Because we tried a brand new. We tried another new setup.
No.
Right.
Like you do.
Right, like you do.
How many years? Is this your third or fourth year doing that?
I don't fucking care.
I think that would be the third or fourth
Something
setup
like
that's
that.
different.
Third or fourth setup,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, because I hated being up on the hill.
I hated
all
that
I see
too.
is that awful line.
Right.
Right. So, I showed up Friday and I was like, this isn't looking good. So I kind of wandered around and found the people I needed to. And all I kept hearing all weekend was, oh, no, we're going to take care of you. Oh, no, we're going to take care of you. I'm sick and fucking tired of people telling me they're going to take care of me.
Yeah.
I want you to give me tools.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, you're looking for hardware now.
No,
Look at
like
Give the
not
tools
necessarily
to do it
hammers
yourself.
and
Oh.
screws, but give me access to the things that I need to do my job. Don't
Okay.
just promise me that you'll take care of me.
Right.
I don't trust you anymore.
I don't trust you
I-
anymore.
From the time I
Yeah.
could talk, I would say I'll do it myself more often than I would say anything else in the world. I'll do it my damn self. So
I think that's my mom's motto her whole life.
fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Exactly. I think that's how it got there.
It's been a lifelong thing. So yeah, it was a little bit of a frustrating start to Saturday because I showed up extra early, knowing that Friday wasn't looking great, and just played catch up all day. And it was apparently record-breaking ticket sales again. And so of course we just dead. You know what I mean? By the time you work
Sure.
that 18-hour day.
Yeah, the biggest
Just murder,
complaint
but
that
I
I
had-
heard about the festival is I heard that it was arranged well. I heard that there were less shade areas than there had been previously. But the biggest thing that I heard pushback on was, and I don't know if whoever's listening out there, you're familiar with the way Prides often work or these events. You get your wristband, your ID is taken, and you buy drink tickets in one area, and then you present said tickets at another area for pre-made cocktails and beer or the like. Well, this year, from what I understand, they changed all that. It was all one line. You paid at the same place. You got your IDs at the same place, served at the same place, and the
Close.
lines were excessive. Is that right or wrong?
The lines are always huge. They doubled the bars this year from last year.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yep.
Just a smart move.
Right.
Well, right, but all I heard was complaint line.
There will
always
always
be-
be that complaint. So the overall, I think the Pride Festival went over very, very well, including my area. Like I had set up challenges and frustrating things to deal with, but we got it done and we did, crazy well, better than ever, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the thing that will always filter through is, oh, the line for the bar is so long. I'm so fucking sorry. There's 30,000 people here. You're gonna
Right.
have to wait a
in
minute.
line, yeah.
You're just gonna have to wait a minute.
But I would have thought if they doubled the bars that would have been a less of an issue.
But if they increase the people
except
too.
for the attendance went up
Oh.
by 10 to 15%, we think.
Right.
Now, another thing that I was told just yesterday by an inside source, otherwise
Oh.
known as City of Phoenix Police Department, Liquor Board was on property all weekend in plain clothes and spent a lot of time taking youngsters out.
Oh, good.
I heard that, and I didn't get a number on how many, but apparently the sneaky feeling of the plain clothes, like they do, they mystery shop bars all the time.
Sure.
And they find out if you're over serving or if you're doing whatever wrong. So apparently the kids who sneak in with airplane bottles of vodka or are getting drinks from friends and don't have wristbands and all of that hullabaloo. Well, apparently they were just escorting them out right and left, doing that all weekend.
It's the right thing to do because that's the
Oh.
part of that
Yeah.
that gets
Like it's
out of
ugly.
hand, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And and you know what? We knew that they were going to be there. And we had all of the bartenders throughout completed the Title IV training.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we had everybody just as up to speed as we possibly could. We had everybody eyes out. We had individual managers at every bar. So we did our part. They did their parts. It's a big festival. Like there's a lot of pieces that have to go into that to try and not serve
That's a good thing to hear,
underage
though.
kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially when you've got a 21-year-old friend who's just going to hand their 20-year-old friend
Right.
the beer. You know what I
Right.
mean? We've all done it.
They're gonna Romeo and Juliet
I've
their
never
way to a
done
beer.
that.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I'm always the youngest.
Sure.
Oh, really?
Well,
What festivals are you going to? Ren Fair now? What the hell is that?
Does Shady Pines have a festival now?
It might.
you don't know. Don't
Well, that's
judge.
good to hear because I'm glad to hear that from you. Now, again, I've only heard this from a few select people, and maybe they're prone to drama and they just want to bitch about everything. I thought the liquor board thing was fantastic. I didn't hear anything else about there were any issues with people.
No, and to the outside world, even my challenges were not apparent. You know what I mean? Like
Cool.
I solved my issues and figured my shit out, and in my own true fashion, I just bullied my way through some things and went and got what I needed and fuck off to everybody else.
And Kyle Ward was with you, right, over there?
Yeah.
Helping
Yeah, yeah.
somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'd forgotten about again. I went to Cobalt to see you Friday, and you weren't there because I'd forgotten about it. And then I was excited because I was at Stacy's on Saturday, and Kyle wasn't there because he was with you. So I'm like, damn it, she got all the good people.
I got all the good people.
to go over
And I
there.
always do. That's what I always hear because I hire all the good people to come work with me. And
Right.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Yes,
what
it
you
was
do.
It was an interesting weekend all around because again because it's just nuts. It's just like I equate it to New Year's Eve because it's another amateur night,
Sure.
amateur weekend. People come out that don't normally come out. They forget that drinking in the sun is horribly detrimental.
Well, and it's the first time in Phoenix that we do drink in the sun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Pride Weekend is usually the first time that we all get out and get any sun.
It is
True.
the Welcome to 100.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
Day.
yeah, that was a lot.
Now, were you there? Did you go?
We went to the parade, something, and then we.
Well, feel free to expound on that if you care to, because I've been receiving all kinds of comments in regards to this.
Well,
And Aaron's
I'm
comment was the first one to wake me up that morning.
Oh, well, it was very startling to not see your faces. Mm-hmm. Because apparently I show up late and
All the
leave
time.
before anybody discusses anything. So I had no idea that
Oh,
I
you didn't
wouldn't
know
be.
we weren't going to be there?
No, none. No,
Oh,
no
no.
idea.
And I would have swore we had talked.
Oh.
No. I overheard you guys talking about it either before or after a
It
show.
had to have been before or
It was
after.
like-
Yeah.
But I thought
Because I remember we were talking about it in the kitchen.
And in
one
my
time,
head,
so
because we
probably
talked about it
before.
in this room
Right.
or this house, that meant it was on the air to me.
Right.
So I'd
No.
or I
So we're walking up, and we're like, that doesn't sound like either one of them. What's happening? Wait a minute. It doesn't sound like anybody, really. It doesn't sound like anybody because nobody's talking. I wonder what's going on up there. Did they move them? So we had a whole lot of questions from about 5th Avenue to 5th Street
Fifth Street.
to 3rd Street,
Yeah.
Okay.
coming up from behind the stage.
Like, man, that's a long
what
walk to come
Yeah,
from
no
Fifth Avenue.
kidding.
no,
My
we're
God.
like, what the hell? Anyway, so
Far.
we got up there and did this little peek around. And I'm like, well, they had to have put them somewhere else. How do I not know these things? What's going on? And so, whatever, start kind of asking questions, and no one is out in the street.
Right.
No one's out in the street. There are a couple of people sitting up at the table, just where all the judges,
Well, the
and
judges
drag
would sit.
queens
Right.
would be sitting, and so it was real weird. And
Yeah.
we're trying to figure it out, and that's when I'm like, you need to text Clayton because my jaw was still, I couldn't function to do. I'm like, something is weird. It was like the whole accent, like everything was wrong, and it just kept getting more weird, and especially when the flag came by.
Okay, I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear how that went down because, when you read about a mispronunciation, you're like, I need an audio button
Right.
here.
At which point, Aaron goes up to the security guy because no one could get up there because they're super important. And Aaron's like, no, they need to they didn't know who anybody was that was walking.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be an ass. This is just factual.
No, that's an important part
This
of Pride is to get the P flag
No,
right.
but even if you take that, I mean, and which I don't, but they no idea. Like they're David Shapira's like David Shapira, for real.
Yeah.
We're doing that, and Adrian Fuentes had to go up and say who he was. He's like, "Hi,
I would
can
have
you-"
runned him. I'm
Right.
so happy with him right now
Yeah.
because he's the new recorder for the
Yeah.
county and he's getting a lot of the election shit figured out
yeah.
and done. I'm happy about him.
So we were just that it would take people getting up. There was dead air
Mm-hmm.
until people got in front of them, and then they would go through their little packet and
figure out who they were.
Figure out who they were. So when the flag happened,
The flag.
flag.
For those of you that don't understand what we're saying, it's PFLAG is what we're talking about. But people
yes.
brought in from outside the community who was, if I'm not
Parents,
mistaken,
friends of lesbians, and gays.
and gays.
yeah,
Okay.
parents, friends of lesbians and gays.
I was like, I've
Yeah.
called it P flag for so long. Like,
Right.
I remember
Yeah.
what that,
That
even
actually
stands
stands for something.
Yeah.
Right, just like Glisten.
I know it's parents.
GLSEN, Glisten.
Well, that's what I was curious.
How
Is
she
it
was
going
gonna-
to be G lesson?
Right, I wasn't sure. Yeah,
What
exactly.
do we have? Yeah.
But from what I
It was
understand,
pathetic.
it was a single announcer. She was, there were two. I only heard of a woman who was from a
Two
local
women.
radio morning
both
show. That's all I
from
heard.
Radio,
Okay.
supposedly.
Okay.
So yeah, so when Aaron ran up to say, listen, you just need to be able to know, please understand, we don't care if you're straight or you're gay or you're black or you're white or you're pink or you're purple. You have to get P flag right
Yeah.
for sure.
That's a low bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Low hurdle.
And so then when something was said, this was before Aaron had gotten up there, so the flag happened, and then it became flag. Just flag.
About 2 months ago, I went off on a local queen who was performing one night. I was in a local bar, and I expected a lot more from this person, and made an announcement. Tonight's proceeds of Jello shots were going to the local, and she got to P flag, and she fucked it up. And then she just kind of covered it by saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter who the fuck this is going to anyway." And I lost my shit. And I went right over to her when she was done, and I said, "Look, if you are going to be who you are in this city," and I said, "you need who the fuck you're raising money for, and you can't mess those names up. I don't care what it is."
I mean, and
It just
And it's
annoyed me.
P-flag.
But right,
right.
but
I feel like it's kind of like the oldest organization.
right,
we
exactly. You got,
Like,
And it's so important.
sure.
yeah, like there's ignorance, and then there's like, what
Right.
the fuck?
Well, and I kept,
That's
when
very disappointing. As I just burp on
because
into the
right
microphone.
after flag, as it were, went by, then it was.
There's so many other groups that
It
are gonna
was
fuck
the
up.
Native American, so Hopi. And I was waiting if they say Hopi, I swear
Hopi.
to God. But they didn't.
Or if the term
They
redskin was
just
used
left-
anywhere.
Right. They just left Hopi out of it.
No, they did not. So it just became the Native American
Yeah, it was like
delegation.
I looked up and saw an Indian, so I just said, there you go.
Oh, my God.
It
Now-
was, and forgive me for that, but it was awful. Like,
Was there a protest this year too?
not
There
that
was. I heard
yes,
there
I
was.
was gonna say unless it was very early on. Cause
It must
we
have
got
been
there-
earlier or later than that. Then
Because I heard it happened again.
I
Oh
heard it
yeah,
happened.
and I had some horrible woman come and tell me, "Oh, we shut them haters down. We screamed them down until they quit."
Oh,
Oh,
They're-
do,
yeah,
they're
because-
part
do you
of
know
us.
what their point was, honey?
we
Well,
talked,
they hate us.
we had a couple of people that were around us talking about the fact of how well you guys handled that last year.
We just walked away
That's
from
very
it.
nice.
No,
Well,
but
we-
and
we
especially
stopped for a
well, and
minute.
you walked away big time, but Kat was very. I mean, was
There
There
was a
was
point
a
where I started to
settling.
really get disappointed in the
yeah,
backlash.
yes,
Um,
and you handled it
And I-
really well.
and it's
I can't keep my
the-
mouth shut.
It's the same thing again. It's still the police, right?
Yes.
Protesting the police.
Yes.
Well, and I'm not sure because we got there, and it was that was the other shame of it. Well, because I went up to a local celebrity and was like, "What the fuck is going on? Who they?
Yeah.
Who they? And why are they talking? And at what point are you gonna go steal that microphone? Please, like enough." And this person was like, and I'm not even gonna go into who that was on the air, but it just said, "Oh, if I could, I keep wanting to, cause they're off." I mean, it was bad, but apparently they wanted sponsors.
And the problem from the last couple years that I think they obviously did again was they need to have a meeting with the people that are turning in their scripts and the people that are reading the scripts, and maybe just go through.
I ask that every year.
Just a
and
quick meeting with the managers about expectations and
right,
yeah.
and like length of copy that you can have, so that I mean, there's something that doesn't look right about throwing a page onto the ground,
Sure.
and there's also something not right about 25 minutes later and finding out how you can get a Bank of America credit
Right.
card, like somewhere in the middle,
But
and
even
learning how to
still,
pronounce names.
But
like,
they weren't even talking about people, talking to people. They weren't there was no elaborating on
And I'm
anything.
assuming there's absolutely no engagement in the
None.
audience at all.
No,
If
no.
it wasn't on a piece of paper,
Zero.
we didn't talk about it.
Unless it was a dog, or wait a minute, let me. And of course, so Aaron, you'd think would be more on board. Hi, girls. If one way or another, you guys were completely missed. Like it was
very nice.
Well, thank you.
stupid. It was but it was stupid. I don't know who came up with that, but I want to write a strongly worded letter.
I got messages from, and I don't know if you did or not, because I didn't realize you were busy, but I got messages from people that have been in corporate for many, many years and have been in the parade with their with their contingencies for years. The Bank of Americas, the
Yes.
Wells Fargos, the Cox
Target.
Communications, Target, Macy's, all of that, and they specifically position themselves on the side of the street where they know we are,
sure.
so that they
Of
could
course.
say hi, we could wave,
course.
or they were the spokesperson that we would. If we didn't have a script, we could just
We
go
could just
to.
mic them.
Yeah.
Right.
because you would
And-
know.
And just like the Katie Hobbs and all of the other people, like we just would go to them.
oh yeah, the people that were there just
Right.
in a car that you don't
Sure.
know they're going to be
Right.
there, but you
and
recognize
there
them.
wasn't a.
I got
the day I learned
messages.
who our mayor was.
I got
They didn't know who our mayor was.
Shut up.
Was I doing it?
No, no, like I'm not kidding.
That explains your Saturday so
they
much
walked
more.
up and they like
They didn't
so
really?
Stanton was walking up as we were getting there, right? And it was honest to God like pulling fucking teeth with no Novocaine. So there's nothing, nothing, because everything has gone by. And Greg Stanton comes walking up with X number of people.
Sure.
And I saw him, and
Because he usually fast passes the parade. I feel like
Yeah.
he starts like a half hour late and then runs.
yeah, right.
He does that one block.
Well,
Yeah.
and he looked like he was walking up toward the stage.
Well, because
Like
we
he
always hand him a
normally-
mic.
And take a picture
Yes.
with him.
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely.
So he looked like that's
So
what
I can
where
say,
he
"Who
was
dis guy?"
going. right.
Right. So we can explain to Allegan who the mayor is.
Right. See, that's still Greg Stanton. And all
Same
of a
white guy,
sudden,
yeah, same guy.
Somebody like went up to these two gals. Again, I have no idea who they are, and I hold nothing against them except don't do it again.
Yeah.
And they were like, the mayor is right over there. He's coming up, because I don't think it would have been in the script, right? At that
Yeah.
point, I don't know that
Typ-
it would have been.
Typically, it is in our book, but there's no script to it. It just would say, whatever float number, and then
But
Mayor
he
Greg
was
Stanton.
walking. He was just walking.
Okay.
So I don't
Cause,
know.
yeah, because I think he enters and has a spot in the parade, but I'm pretty sure he like buzzes past people.
Yeah.
And
oh, I
or
do
gets
too.
held up, right?
I got that.
Back
The
and
last
forth.
parade I went to, I felt like he ducked in
Yeah.
right by that little Ocotillo restaurant and
Yeah.
then ducked out.
No, could have been.
Ducked out
Sure,
before
sure.
the pride,
Yeah.
the old pride offices. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they looked up and they're like, oh, and the mayor, Greg.
Oh, God.
And I saw like a Leonardo Stanton. What?
Wow.
At which point he kind of, because there was the selling the balloons and the
Right.
kitschy shit. At which point he kind of went and looked around this thing at the
Because he's
the stage,
expecting
like,
to see us.
what?
Yeah.
Or expecting to have someone hand him a microphone to make
Right.
a few.
Or
Have
someone
someone
that
say,
might
"Oh,
know
hi,
his
Mayor."
name.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
Holy
but
shit.
what I mean by expecting to see us is because we do that every year with him. Every year, I did it with Phil Gordon before Stanton. But like again, they get there because they've been such advocates and such supporters
Sure.
of the LGBT community. It's like, why would you not
Say a
shut
few
up.
words,
He comes to
sure.
AIDS Walk every.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we
Yeah.
get pictures with Alan,
Yeah.
and then he's like,
yeah,
"Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Greg Stanton. Like,
Somebody. You know, the mayor. Yeah, it was insulting, and the reason that it was insulting is the not knowing the names, the absolutely no engagement. Here, the parade was. It was a long parade, right? It was, and how
It always is.
wonderful.
It
No,
always
but
is. It's
how
long.
wonderful that we have people that want to be involved and that are in this thing, and then to not engage them
Yeah.
is not okay. And people were
Yeah,
and
because
I-
you got to
all-
make that shit tolerable. Because the only
do.
thing worse than pageants is parades.
well, and it's hotter than
And
shit
it's
out
so
there.
fucking hot out there.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I'm not sure how much was left, but we had to leave because we had to go to lunch at 1. And so it was 1:45 and we had to leave. There was still, it looked like, quite a number of people.
Jesus Christ! What time does that fucker start?
started at
And,
10.
Yep.
Yeah, but if
They
it got
started
if
early.
it got stalled by a protest somewhere,
Well, yeah, that could have
And
taken
again,
longer.
that had to have been, we got there at 10:15. So I can't fathom.
I don't remember. I had people.
From what I understand, it was the opening.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's like the Dykes on Bikes and the protest.
Okay.
See, because I think it was later. Because I feel like I was almost open at the bar when somebody brought me like live streaming footage. So that would have
Oh.
been 11:30.
Oh, we were right there. So it couldn't
Well,
have
step,
been.
It could have
step
been
off,
elsewhere.
step off in getting to like the judges. That's 30 minutes at least. That's a way.
Yeah.
So
But I think
Oh,
I think
so
the I
it
think the
would've
live
been-
footage of the protest wherever it happened was right about 11:30 because Stacey Lewis came up with his phone all streaming.
So that would make sense.
Trying
of
to be
why
breaking
there might have
news.
even been more.
So there was
of
probably a
lull.
delay in starting, and then by the time it got
Yeah.
from point A to wherever they
Yeah.
did it,
Yeah.
would have been a delay as well.
Okay.
Because
We
they
didn't hear
strategically
anything
did it
about
last year, but in front of the judges'
Yep.
stage,
Yep.
because that was there was a sound system, there was a focal point, and they got when the sheriff got there. That's when they.
That's
that
when they
whole-
came out. Yeah.
And then they got him the hell out of there, and then I feel like Stanton was in front.
He was nowhere near.
Uh-uh.
No.
I thought he was in front of them, and then they got him out
it-
first.
No, unless he was well ahead.
I think he went through first.
Or maybe
Yeah,
not.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think Stanton went through before
And
the
then the-
protest.
yeah.
Okay.
Because I know, like, we were aware of the protest that was going to happen last year,
Yeah.
and like could see them across the
Sure,
street.
sure,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just kind of,
yeah.
well, we'll see what happens
When's
with
this
this.
gonna
Right.
take
Yeah.
Anyway, so my apologies for going on, but it really was. It wasn't just one of those things where you're upset or sad because your cohorts aren't there, and the people 13 years, like, come on, like what. And it wasn't just because of that. Like, initially it was, and I was pissed. Like, what the fuck?
And then you find out
Where-
they no education to these people at all for doing it.
Yeah, and again, are they straight? Are they gay? I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
I don't fucking care because that's what a couple people around us were saying. Like, are they even gay? Who fucking cares? I don't care.
Right.
Greg
But
Stanton's
Right.
not gay.
I'm super
Here-
happy with allies. That's
Yeah,
totally cool.
I
Oh, right.
absolutely am. But
know
no,
something. Yeah.
something about the
Right.
community.
Especially when you're doing color commentary. Like,
Yes, know something about the community. Know something about the people that support the community.
But how disappointing that a local drag queen doesn't know what PFLAG is either. Like,
I know, right?
how far
Yeah.
removed are we from like
Sure,
anything?
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah. I'm
Well,
just.
good. I have a feeling that'll all be changed because again there were several people that
I sure
and business owners here in the town that reached out to me that were like, what? And I believe the word will get back and it'll be taken care of.
It was pathetic.
So that's all right.
Do anything else fun this weekend?
Yeah, we did a rugged maniac.
The hell is that?
It's
That a drink?
race, like a
Oh.
One of those
5K.
obstacle course
Mhm.
things. Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
the mud one?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, don't they all involve mud at some point?
No,
like,
no,
this
but
is
it's-
different.
'cause
They're-
you-
like you have to crawl through mud. Like I get in there and I'm like,
'cause I
this,
think it came
I'm
up-
a ninja.
Your
And I'm
picture,
like,
yeah. One of your
I'm
memories came up.
unseenable.
Marnie
Yeah.
the Ninja.
Yeah, and it's,
One of your pictures
yeah.
came up as a memory, like
Yeah.
in the last couple days that she had tagged us all in from
yeah,
her.
It was very fun, very fun. And I'm not like that whole like ooh, get dirty blah blah blah. But I'm like I'm all in. I'm there. But Ernie got a little dehydrated because it was kind of irresponsible of the people that were out there. We did it in November. We did the another rugged maniac in last November, and this one obviously was 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Right, and they had 2 water stations for all the people. Like that wasn't enough. It just was not.
Yeah.
And you're in the middle. We were out by Wild Horse Pass, so all it was fumes from cars.
Yeah.
No.
dust.
And the rawhide kind of
Sure.
right out there. So that was a little bit much. That was a little bit much, and so she got real dehydrated and couldn't finish part of the race. So she was real upset about toward the end. But she just went.
Did you sit her
pale.
somewhere where some dogs were?
Yeah, no, she actually there were dogs that went by and she didn't even care.
That's
Oh,
how
no.
That's how dehydrated she was.
She
a
was
disaster.
not feeling well. I was like, somebody call an ambulance.
Yeah, that's very equivalent to the
Emergency.
What are those three
Yes.
girls' names?
The Wilson Phillips.
Yeah, Wilson Phillips. Very similar to the Wilson Phillips test. Parade a dog by her. If she doesn't sit up,
Yeah.
Time of
she's
death.
in trouble. Yeah.
Time of death.
Call that
Start
one.
handing out
Like,
organs.
wow, right?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
TOD that shit.
Anyway, so how about you?
Well, I had a surprising bit of time off because my schedule was made by a computer, unfortunately, for this this last couple weeks. There was some glitches that they're trying to work out with our computer scheduling that needed to be resolved. But it ended up that I had a couple extra days off, and I was kind of traumatized from last weekend. So last Wednesday, I called off for the mental health day and told them, like,
What happened
I'm not
last weekend?
it was just a bad weekend
Oh, I see.
of just a rough weekend of work.
Okay.
And I was kind of battered and abused by the time it was over, and got up, came here last Tuesday, and I'm like, nope, you know what? I need a whole fucking day.
Okay.
And then Friday, a friend of mine who also had a computer-made schedule, so we had a series of happened to have a day off with nothing else to do. So we went and explored Central Arizona. I don't know, North
Okay.
Central Arizona.
Oh, I saw something. Where
Yeah,
you
so we went to that Arco Santa, which I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you've heard of.
Arco
Arco
Santi.
Santi.
Arco Santi. Them too.
Yep.
You're not allowed to announce the parade either.
European.
It sounds like the name of a wine.
It's European, and that's where the Paflag people go.
Yeah.
No, it's
is.
a crazy commune, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it wanted to be a crazy commune, but unfortunately, it's just in its 30-some years of trying, 40 some. I guess it started in 73. So now we're at 44 years. They haven't quite got there yet, and they mostly make bells, but they still have. But it's supposed to be this completely Frank Lloyd Wright inspired independent community that should rely all on
Belfry?
itself. So
Right.
they should have
be self-sufficient.
agricultural gardens going down the front of it with the heat coming up from the gardens to help heat the houses, architecturally built to withstand the elements, even though they don't have air conditioning. But they only got so far in, and then the main man died, and they've kind of left in limbo. But people still pay to go to what is supposed to be an architectural internship where they pay to come to be in this place for 5 to 6 weeks.
It's a cult.
But now they're making bells. There's no longer. They're not.
It's a bell cult.
It rings
now
true.
Here's so here's the
Bad
thing.
pun. I'm so sorry.
As
liked
I
it.
said,
I
as
liked
we went through the tour, it's the kind of cult though that I could absolutely buy into. There's
I
nothing.
don't even like bells.
There's nothing. Yeah, exactly. Annoying as all fucking get out, and terrifying in horror movies. So there's no religious thought to it. The thought is to be somewhere where you're completely in a community. You don't need cars. You don't need to commute. There's retailers with the houses on top, the businesses on the bottom. Agriculturally, you just have to find people to trade goods and services with another
Right.
community,
Fucking hippies.
and you could stay self-sufficient, which makes a lot of sense. But it was supposed to support I think 5,000 people, and they should each be an individual instead of having exurbs and suburbs, and where you just keep living further and further out, where you're utilizing vital land space. This keeps you compact, and you don't spread out, you build up.
It's like China.
Yes, but you also conserve land for the things you need. If you have to feed 1 billion people,
Sure.
you need the land for
At least an acre and a half.
yeah. So if you don't build this way, and if China did suburbs, they would never have the farmland to feed themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have the vast open part of the middle of the country to grow crops. So, and it's one of those things where you're kind of half agricultural, half urban in your own right, but they don't have a doctor, they don't have a dentist. There's some interesting questions, and it was a very interesting conversation of something that was started, but then it was self-funded.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you buy a bell?
No.
Oh, damn it. I was hoping there'd
But
be
they're
some...
love, and you get to see them. You get to see them make it, and that's kind of part of their livelihood. That's how they support themselves up there, and they're beautiful. But it was cool to watch them. They melt brass, and we watched them like with the crucible, like pour the
Right.
brass into the form, and then you see
Into
them
the
under
sand mold.
Yeah, how you do all the other things. So that was cool, and how the arcs were built. And then we saw their living spaces and their pool, where they get some of their water from the Agua Fria, and they have a dam. Because I was like, well, how the fuck do you get water up here? Turns out you build a dam. So we went from there to Montezuma's castle, which is just sitting up there. And like they call it a hike, but it's really just a walk.
Yeah.
This way and that way, because you can't go into Montezuma's castle. You just look at it.
Well, no, because
But
that's where the
then-
Did you go
revenge
by
is
the
kept.
well?
Right.
Did you go to the
But
well?
so I saw in the brochure, and like there was something about a well, because you pay for 3 things: the castle, the
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
something else. I'm like, I want to see this well.
Yeah.
Like, what we talking here? The biggest surprise of all, living in Arizona for 32 years, is this constantly flowing
Yeah.
giant well that they don't know how deep it is or where the water comes from.
It's pretty amazing.
But it pumps water up into Arizona, fresh water bubbling up constantly at a reasonable 70 some degrees at all times. And then it like flows out of this giant well. Like it's like a rock quarry kind of thing. It's giant. And then it streams off, and 1,000 years ago someone took it into canals for farmers, and they still use the Native American canal system. It doesn't
Interesting.
feed Beaver Creek. It runs right by it, but 1,000 years ago, somebody was like, nope, we're going to use this water for this.
and the things that are carved out.
Yeah, there's places where
their
people
Adobe
obviously
little
lived.
home things
Yeah,
or
little
whatever.
homes, and then there's places to keep food fresh because the water it bubbles, so it has carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide, which steals the
Dioxide.
oxygen.
Dioxide, right.
So if you went into one of these caves, you would suffocate. But they went in a certain way with their food, and they kept food fresh there because it doesn't oxidize, it doesn't rot.
Oh.
So they had like their own
Because
little
the bacteria
refrigerators.
also
Yeah.
suffocate.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bacteria suffocate. So I mean, it was very interesting. And then
Which is interestingly enough what supermarkets do to your hamburger to keep it so red. They pump that little package full of carbon
Oh.
dioxide. Yeah, keep
Oh.
it looking fresh.
Interesting.
And,
well, that's good.
I
that cool?
didn't know.
And
Well,
so
I
just the
like
fact that
little
this water
tidbits.
just flows, like there's a
Yeah.
constant source of water in Arizona.
I had no idea
that I
about
had
that.
never
Yeah.
heard of.
We went up there just on a kind of a whim.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we were just stopping at places on the way back from Flag. Like, let's go here, or let's go there.
Yeah.
Erin still calls that whenever it gets real fucking hot. She's like, oh, look, we're on the surface of the fucking sun again because it was so hot there, and there's nowhere.
Gosh, she sounds
to get-
pleasant to travel
She's
with.
a love. But I mean, Joe, she really is.
she doesn't listen anymore, does she?
Bitter.
No, that's why I talk freely.
She's
But
a
it was-
bitter, dehydrated Jew. Good God.
half Jew.
Whatever.
Half Jew.
Whatever.
I'm the faux Jew. She's the half Jew. Yeah, but she's a delight to travel with.
And
But it was so funny because
can
it was
tell.
so hot and there was next to nowhere to go. They did find a nice little spot for a bench. I don't know if you saw that.
yeah, there's a couple nice, beautiful benches there.
That did have a little shade. So, but
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
you are out in the high
nothing.
desert. There is nothing. So this
Yeah.
water coming up that you're like, how is that not just drying on the spot?
Right.
And they
Yeah.
have the things about the divers that have gone down to trying to find the bottom,
Sure.
and like the silt and where does this water source? And then we went to Jerome.
Yeah.
Which a
I
gorgeous
love
day.
that place.
Gorgeous day. What a and Mark Martinez. I was there with him a couple years ago too, and oh my God, just a
Yeah.
beautiful place. We went to the haunted hotel and
Yep.
to eat, and then to Sedona, and went to see Laura, longtime
That's
listener.
what I saw.
So,
yes,
um,
okay.
we
And
went
she
to-
wasn't there?
No, she was out of town for
I
the
think she was
weekend.
down here.
She was actually down
Was
here
she?
for the
I
weekend.
think
That's
she was
great,
down
yeah.
here.
Some kind of
That's
conference.
happened to us a couple times too.
But went up by the airport. The hike was already closed because we were there kind of late. So we just like kind of watched the sunset there instead of doing the hike. And like Slide Rock was already closed.
Yep.
But we went to Tlaquepaque.
Yeah.
My
bless
friend
you.
was talking about like this resort that was kind of cool and all these things there. I'm like, or if that doesn't work out, you could go to Tlaquepaque because that's got a lot of fun stuff. And he's like, but I really like this resort. I'm like, I'm just saying, like, if that one doesn't work out, so then he takes me to this place where there's a brewery that he likes,
Okay.
and it's
Tlaquepaque.
Tlaquepaque. So I'm like,
I'm like, there's a brewery in Tlaquepaque. Okay.
and he was
sure.
like, he's like, you kept saying it. He's like,
Yeah.
but I don't. He's like, I could never even come close to what that place was
sure.
pronounced. And then we went to Laura's for dinner, which I had been to
Delicious.
Hideaway House under different owners. Where
right.
they had
Me
different
too.
food.
Me too.
And the food was
Talking
was
about-
wonderful. We had a
Oh.
wonderful dinner. Sat there overlooking the creek
Beautiful. It's
at
absolutely
night,
beautiful.
so it was just dark and gorgeous.
And you still see the outline of the
Yeah.
mountains. It's gorgeous.
it's just
yeah.
beautiful out there. And the desserts where she makes them
Oh.
are to fucking die for.
Yeah.
And very reasonably priced. Like
Yeah.
the bill came and I was like, oh, we must have gotten some kind of a discount. And I'm like, nope, this is just a reasonably priced restaurant with a spectacular view. And the food was so good. Veal cutlets and some kind of
They have this watermelon
brick
and feta
chicken.
that I just go crazy about.
Yeah, just good food. So it
Balsamic,
was
Wow.
kind of like oh yeah.
Right
and
on.
then I've just been
just
riding my
love it.
bike every day
So
or
good.
walking, like trying to get a little bit of exercise, a little
Yeah.
bit of sun.
Good.
Not as much as you. You look very
Hey,
tan.
look at you. You've got some
yeah,
color.
Yeah.
And you, Monsieur McKee.
Well, alongside this one, I experienced some of the weekend. Except I was not at at the festival at all, but I was monitoring a couple bars here in this area for support, and I spent most of my time at the at Stacy's. But
Kel Surprise.
nothing will go without a hitch. Like sometimes a printer fails, this happens, whatever. Fortunately, I am now done with all of that, and I.
Yeah.
But at one point, with the kids at and you may have seen my post on Facebook, but it was interesting. I was watching them. Well, we learned a couple things this weekend. One, pick your DJs very carefully on a big weekend, especially when you've got a potential for having every square inch of your bar full of people who want to dance all night.
Oh no.
Yeah, there was a terrible scheduling. Well, Stacy agreed to let somebody DJ that I don't think
Was any good?
I accused him of being 70, and somebody corrected me and said no, he's 57. I'm like,
Oh.
really? About the same? You're in the same ballpark. So he did you know DJ Shorty? Little short. She's tiny. She calls herself DJ Shorty. She's awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
I do.
She had that place rolling on Friday night. It was
Amazing.
amazing. Like it was like the whole energy
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going, and you're like, we're going all the way.
She's
they were
fun.
and they were going like 4 a.m. Well, at 1 a.m. they decided this is where the cutover is going to be, and I just watched everybody leave the building.
Oh,
It
no.
was horrible, and I was like, I'm standing there looking at the bar staff, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, the fuck is this? And I went to Shorty, and I'm like, can you go back? She's like, no, I'm already pulled equipment. Like we're already out of it. And he just stumbled and fell, and I was so
Oh,
sad.
that's hard to watch.
Yeah, it was because I
and his
was
poor mother, a DJ.
yeah. So the next night, you should probably remember him. Do you remember Quentin DJ Q from years and years ago? Used to DJ down at IBTs.
Oh, Quentin. Yeah.
Jenkins,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was in town. Now I haven't heard Quentin DJ in 100 years. He used to be backup. He used to actually do backup for a dancer for Miss Ebony years and years ago. I hadn't heard him DJ in a long time. I was astounded how fantastic he was
okay.
on Saturday night. I was literally standing there going, you just sampled that and did this, and then you went into that, and then came back? It was amazing to me.
I want to say he showed up that Monday that I saw you at Stacy's. He showed up right after you left.
Wouldn't be surprising. He's been in town for a while.
Yeah, I just ran into him again, and like I've known him since I was 19. So
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh.
But he, again, I was astounded, and he rolled until 4 a.m. at Stacy's just nonstop, and it was just fantastic. And again, you just don't hear people mix like that very much anymore.
Yeah.
It just was really, they want to do that little scratchy bullshit and do something. He didn't. He literally just took a sample of something. Oh, and he was all over. He was everywhere from the early 70s to current and just dropped stuff and did it. It was amazing.
He's
really,
older
really
than
good.
God. I mean,
So with that, standing
speaking of
there.
57, he's older than 50.
No, right, but there's a difference. Right, but there's a difference.
minute.
But there's a difference in appearance. There's a difference in appearance with that, because black don't crack. So you're a little bit,
Sure,
you're a little
sure.
bit unsure of how old he is. But the other guy looked like it was, Tim Conway's the oldest man
Yeah.
coming up to DJ. But the
I mean, my apologies, Quentin, if you listen to this, but
the other thing was, so I'm standing there, and as every bar does, and my post we talked about, I just was watching these poor staff members just getting their ass handed to them, and I'm just like, okay, somebody's got to do something. And I just looked at Anthony. I'm like, tell me what I can do. And I'm just thinking he's gonna fill ice into the wells, do something, whatever. And he's like, glasses, do glasses. And I just did. I just went. I just stood there. I was wet. From nipples to knees, I was just sopping wet from that. But I was cranking through glassware in the bar backs.
So you're not a very good glass washer.
I
What
know,
are you
but
doing, taking a bath in it?
basically, we were going so hard. But the funny thing was, these new younger bar backs are looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going
guy?
faster than you."
yeah.
I'm like, the one kid, I just yelled at him. I'm like, just take them, get them, because I kept stacking up glasses. It was just very funny. And then Anthony made the comment. He goes, "Well, your days at Winks you're still in you. You wash glasses."
Yeah.
because I used to watch them during the show. I'd push play for a drag queen and then wash glasses in between the 3.5 minutes
sure.
of whatever. Don't leave me this way or whatever the hell they were doing. Yes, I haven't. So it was very fun to be part of that and to see it all. But again, it was just people were everywhere. People just nuts and drunks and amateurs. One woman walks in and started demanding that a bar back give her a drink, and he's like, "Ma'am, I'm just picking up glassware." And she got all bitchy and grabbed a glass and threw it at his head. Then she flashed.
What?
Then Then she flashed her badge and said that she was military police. It took 4 guys to get her out of the building. Police finally arrived and got her and cuffed her, and she got to go to the hospital because she got injured.
Oh, sad.
Wow.
Somehow she got injured. I think she fell.
Because when I tripped her and
Gravity
shoved her
overtook
down.
her. Yeah.
Did they open the door with
especially
her
when you
head?
start throwing glasses at
She
people.
did. She threw it at a
that's
barback's head.
awful.
That's dangerous. That's
Oh
bullshit.
yeah, Matt Moroska got in the middle of a
So-
bar fight and had knocked out his 2 front teeth or broke his 2 front teeth from a
So she
flying
got charges
shot glass.
pressed against her, and then she got escorted away in an ambulance, and then was followed by the police. So that was a good night
The
for
military or otherwise?
her. Under the regular, the Phoenix
Okay,
PD.
just the Phoenix
Yeah.
PD.
Well, they had to
The
verify.
military
clarify.
kind won't look kindly on this,
I didn't
though.
think
no,
that
true.
they would.
Right,
No.
yeah.
She's in a
And
whole lot
especially
of
the
trouble.
flash the badge.
Yeah, she did that.
Yeah, but I mean
Flash
that's
the-
what
Yeah. Do you know who I am? You know
Right.
what? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
career's over.
Yeah,
honey.
you just got
Sorry
your ass
about
guess
it.
what you
handed to
did?
A lot of trouble.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, so that was it. We got another weekend over, and like I said, we hit 100 today, so that fulfilled the whole weekend, and now we're off to a summer of love and tenderness here in the
Yeah,
Valley of the
I
Sun.
broke down Saturday and turned on the air conditioning.
Yeah,
Might have been Friday.
I did too because I had Ricardo Sanchez because he was doing all day duty at Pride, and then he was doing evening duty there. He just on the way from here to Charlie's, he just stopped by and like showered and rinsed off. He goes, I just had to get out. I was in a uniform all day.
I can't
yeah.
even imagine.
He's wearing, and you can't like full vest, the bulletproof
Yeah,
vest,
yeah.
all the uniform, which he says is about 40 to 45 pounds
Sure.
with everything, and you're just standing in the sun all day.
It's
and,
black.
and it's a dark blue black uniform. That's just brutal.
Nope.
So he came by, showered, changed into that, and still went and dealt with idiots at the bar. And that's another thing I still don't get. I'll never understand it. Part of it's because I'm older. I don't want to stand in line anywhere for anything.
Ever.
Yeah.
So you look at these kids.
Which is hence the complaint about the lines every year because no one wants to wait in a line.
But I look at these kids, and I know the capacity of that bar. And even though they did an extension, the line went from the extension was at the back of the building. It goes 150 to 200 feet south.
At Stacy's?
No, at Charlie's.
Charlie's, yeah.
It goes south 150, 200 feet. Then it goes down 2 rows of cars, which is another 100 feet, 150 feet. And then all the way from the street in the back to Camelback.
Yeah, no fucking way.
Jesus Christ.
And then started going down the sidewalk towards a taco truck. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Why would you even care? Go
Because
drink
you're
somewhere
being
else.
seen.
Something. But I'm thinking, you're burning drinking time, kids,
Right.
if that's what your goal is.
Right.
Like, what is the deal?
I got liquor at my house.
Like,
I
right.
got it.
I could have gone home. You could have gone anywhere else.
I thought Nevaeh's post was hysterical.
Right.
Let me just take care of this now.
Right. I can't.
No,
I
I can't get you in.
Right. I can't sneak you in the back door of the bar.
Right.
I can't get you in the exit. I can't do all of the. Yeah. I'm working.
I cracked
All those things. No, that's
yeah.
very, very true. Everybody should have that.
Yeah. Nope,
Everybody.
that
Oh, I
was
should
fantastic.
just wear that.
Oh,
t-shirt.
actually, that is a great
Make those
T-shirt.
t-shirts.
Yeah.
Here's what you should know.
Yeah, number one, number two.
Number one, closing
three,
time is
yeah.
closing time. Number two, I don't care how long we've known each other,
Right, right, right.
honestly.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Asterisk David Hernandez.
Right. As is apparent by David Hernandez. Because I just flat looked at him and was like, no. But I was one of the performers. I just got to. Okay.
I don't care.
I'm closed.
Yeah. Didn't you buy booze?
No.
Somewhere else?
Right. Shouldn't somebody have
Why
hooch for you
doesn't-
backstage?
And I
mean,
wasn't a
if-
complete asshole about it. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, honey. They've already come and taken
You were-
half of my product.
Oh,
and-
right.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know.
Just make it up. It doesn't
Sure.
matter.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, I've got, bottles still sitting on a counter there. No, they already came and took all my stuff.
Yeah, there's no blender.
The other, it's right there.
That's right. I honest to God, I'll never
blender.
forget the look on Joan Green's face because she had not been in the business, right? Like at all.
Oh, and she bought Tinseltown?
Right. And so her and the fucking blender and the shakes for the kids and
Yeah.
I'm like, forget it. So they would come up and they'd be like, I want a milkshake and blah blah. And no, it's broken. And she
Like a Brandy Alexander all blended together?
No, but I mean like just a milkshake because the kids that could come in and
Oh, that's right. They
know.
could do underage there.
And so she came up. She goes, it's not broken. And I turned around, I looked at it, and I grabbed a spoon, and I shoved it in there, and I just turned it on. I go, well, it probably is now. So I'm not lying. But come on. Like,
I just put quarters in it. Make a milkshake out of that.
She had no idea, like, that you make
Flag that shit, bitch.
There's no warranty. Terribly sorry about that.
Yeah.
I voided it.
Yep, exactly. All done.
All done.
I might buy you another one. No, I won't.
Okay. I don't think we need to even do an obsession intro. I think we've beaten everything else up.
Yeah.
Unless somebody has one that you want to talk about.
I can fit it somewhere else.
We'll figure it in somewhere. Then let's do this portion. Oh, guess what, kids? It's time for our little headlines where we get to tell you about stories that we're going to talk about in the beginning of next hour.
Perfect.
Oh, a jail job applicant was arrested.
Continuing to be laser focused on the opioid crisis.
And the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
Train bomb, false alarm.
A Kansas man was arrested again.
This is why we can't have nice things.
And Hunter's at it again.
Also why we can't have
And
nice things.
yeah. Nope, there's nobody there.
Okay. I don't know if that was really a headline or if you're just making up shit because you don't have anything. It's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back right after this.
Oh my God, is this not your mother's recipe?
Yes, and now I'm passing it on to you. So try to keep up.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
Educates, syncopates, radio communicates, radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
David? It's the big God. I think I've hopped up on coffee now. I'm not really sure. Maybe.
That a girl.
It's all right. I do enjoy a good brew here and there. Coffee brew, that is. Welcome back, everybody. It's the beginning of hour 2 on a Tuesday night. This is the show. This is show number 340. It is the 10th of April, 2018.
So next week would be the 17th. So that would be 6 years. Jesus, Christmas.
I know. Also, later on in the show, we may
Christ Lord.
we'll be giving our testimony about Facebook and other things going on in the news, I'm sure, because everybody wants to know about that. Also, coming up later in the show, Kat Carlson's going to have something about 2 things. Al's going to have some entertainment news. But in the meantime, we are going to do our headline stories, and they go a little bit like this. Well, a woman on theft charges was arrested. Oh, excuse me, a woman wanted on theft charges was arrested last Friday in Manchester, New Hampshire, after she walked into the Valley Street Jail to apply for a job.
Oh, okay, a girl.
Police said the woman named Christina Hoffs, 31, of Manchester, walked into the jail on Friday seeking a job as a corrections officer. While applying, jail staff seemed to realize that she was wanted in Maine on theft-related offenses. Funny how those they're all tied together. Here's a picture of this lovely woman, striking young man. She was placed into custody without incident at the time when they the background check came back. Superintendent Dave Dion says, in my 32-year career, this is a first.
Yeah.
Those seeking to work as correctional officers go through an initial screening phase in which completed applications are reviewed for availability, neatness, and qualifications. I guess one
Looks
of the
very neat.
Look, very neat and tidy. Look, she may be part of a Katie Lang fan club. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to go with that.
Well groomed.
Don't diss the Katie Lang.
Oh, no, I do enjoy Katie Lang.
Right, well.
She's a big bone gal from southern Alberta. I love her. I love her.
I was just
Katie
about to
Lang
say
is
that's one
sitting
of my
right here.
favorite
Yeah.
compliments when people say I kind of look like Katie Lang.
So
but
after the
now apparently I'm a
application,
big bone
Except
girl.
I've seen her in person, and she's a hell of a lot taller than you are. I was
so after the
surprised.
application was reviewed, jail staff members made the determination of whether the applicant was eligible for future testing. They decided no, she was not. If eligible, job seekers are then given other tests, basic aptitude tests, and all of these things that are required to be a correctional officer. They also asked them to do various problem solving and to check with personality traits. So the next step involves a background check, according to Dion. She came in. We asked for permission to conduct the background check, and she was really nonchalant about the entire thing. Well, when it came back, it turned up information about her warrant. So the Manchester police came in, asked her if she was Christina Hoff. They then said, would you mind stepping outside with us? Next thing you know, they had handcuffed her and took her away in, it says in the story, a paddy wagon. They'd never seen anything like that before at that jail, and they were very surprised. She was transported to police headquarters and was scheduled to appear in the Ninth Circuit Court of Manchester yesterday. It would been Monday afternoon.
Now, was she at Stacy's throwing glasses?
No, she
at
was
anyone?
not.
I just was checking for a friend.
No, and I
didn't
can see
know
why
if,
you'd
you
wonder.
know.
Well, in the story, this doesn't say anything about flashing a badge of military
all right.
police.
Well, maybe she flashed something. I just
Who
wasn't
knows?
sure.
I'm not sure.
you
Not
know.
sure.
Yeah, it could have
A
happened.
smart
that way.
haircut.
It is a very smart haircut.
For those of you
I
that
agree.
didn't see it, I will put that up again. She's a very smart, little, clean, very clean cut correctional officer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
She seems nice.
I was
She
less chuckling.
seems
I was
nice.
less chuckling about the but the ears they're very pointy. She has very pointy ears.
Or maybe she's an elf.
Leah, the elf
Like
that
little
wants to be a
elf
dentist.
ears. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah.
in Christmas, she works at the mall.
There you go. Fair.
My name is
She,
Crumpet.
yeah.
It's a good gig. Makes
have
you
a
extra
name.
money.
What is it? You smell like whiskey and beef. What is it from Bad Santa?
Oh, I don't even remember.
You smell like whiskey and Cheetos or
Oh.
something.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I can't remember,
I'll
but
have
that's
to
a
find that
really
line.
funny line.
Everything in that movie is just delightful.
Wrong.
A Christmas holiday done absolutely right. Every Christmas I do my double feat. Whatever night I'm off, I do my Bad Santa and the Ref combo of
Nice.
just
Yeah.
foul language and awful people with a couple Christmas carols.
Right.
There
A
you
little
go.
side of elf, and you're on your
Wait, did
way.
I say the Ref or Elf?
You said both.
You
I think
said
you-
the ref in Bad Santa.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
do. Because
yeah.
I also like Elf. Because I love
Right,
Elf.
but
Elf, yeah.
the quote there was from Elf, so
Elf.
we got.
A
Oh,
full
no, that
circle.
was from Bad
Full
Santa.
circle.
No, what I'm saying is from Bad Santa.
Yeah, his quote's from Bad
Oh,
Santa.
there's another one from Elf that's very, very similar.
Oh wait,
about
maybe
you smell like- I think it's Elf.
Maybe I'm confluting stories here.
Yeah, I know.
Am I getting that
I
wrong?
think that's from Bad Santa.
You
I
smell
thought-
like beef and cheese. You sit on a throne of lies. That's from Elf.
Well, what? I thought there was one similar to Bad Santa.
Yeah, there is one, but there's a similar one about you smell like whiskey and because he's talking to the little black eye elf, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The little, yeah.
Smell like whiskey and cigarettes.
Oh,
yeah,
that could,
yeah, whiskey
sure.
and cigarettes.
Probably.
In related news,
And related to, speaking of whiskey and cigarettes, Instagram is working to stop drugs from being sold on their app.
oh,
Oh.
how many roses does it take to buy pot?
Well, a quick search can turn up plenty of accounts filled with pictures of various pills. They typically list contact details, email addresses, phone numbers, and usernames for chat apps and encrypted messenger services like Kik and Wicker. Wicker's a new one. I don't know.
No,
which
I don't know of that
I'm
one
not-
either.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go look it up later.
As he Googles Wicker.
Put two and two. Right. as I install Wicker immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
Put two and two together, and these are likely drug dealers and illicit online pharmacies or scammers. But earlier this week, Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, who is testifying to Congress, quietly took some action to crack down on drug-related posts. In fact, a search for hashtag Oxycontin,
Yeah. Should come up empty.
well, it does now come up empty. On Monday, it turned up 30,000 posts.
Holy
By
shit.
Friday, 0.
Well, are they just calling it something else now?
Well, I mean, they'll get there. How do you think we got roses on
Kittens?
Craigslist?
Sure.
Kittens?
Wait, okay, wait. What does roses on Craigslist mean?
Roses are how many dollars it takes for me to come sleep with you.
Right.
So if you're an escort, you advertise whatever you are, and then you know it's 150 roses.
Right.
Oh, God, I am so out of touch.
Now
and
that
then we
that was 15 years ago. Now whether or not they're using the same wording or not, I don't know. But
No, it's carnations.
that's always the joke I've talked. How many roses is this going to cost me?
Because, there's that 710 thing that we talked about, because upside down in an old calculator, it would have spelled oil, which means
Right.
hash oil.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
Oh.
like a drug thing, and
Oh.
kids vaping because they use the oils in the vape. And that was my other thing about Pride.
Oh, with
Like,
what Buddy
in the year
posted?
of our Lord 2018, who's smoking real joints outside? Like, who?
Apparently everyone, because every time I walked through the freaking backyard of the VIP, I was like, who the fuck is smoking pot? Come on, guys.
And not only that, but get the vape pens.
Right.
If you feel the need to do it in public, invest the cash. Get a friend. I mean, you're clearly dealing with a drug dealer of some kind. Get a friend and get the goddamn pen. It doesn't smell.
Sure.
Okay.
It's 100% true.
It's just so weird that why would you risk getting caught when you can walk around in the open air with those vape pens and they don't smell
And
like anything?
None the wiser, right?
Yeah.
Put a little bit of that bubblegum bullshit in there with it, and away you go.
I mean, there's no smell.
I just think it's funny that Buddy Early has such an ungodly aversion to the smell of it, and it doesn't bug me at all. I'm well aware that it's there. I know the smell, but it acts like the world's coming to an end if it's around. I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't either. And like, I think Aaron said, he has some reaction to it. And I mean, I was out last week not feeling well. People were smoking around me, and I'm like, so I mean, so cigarette smoke bothers me. Maybe pot smoke bothers other people. I don't know.
No, cigarette smoke bugs me.
Yeah,
but the pot smoke doesn't. It's no.
Plus, it doesn't seem to be in the same. I mean, unless you're with Cheech or Chong, I'd like who smokes that much.
To me,
Right.
the big difference is, to me, cigarette smoke has a very chemical connotation to it.
Yeah.
A cigarette, but pot smoke, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I've just never been around people that smoked that much pot.
Right, exactly. You're not you're not hotboxing in a car.
Right, yeah.
It's been a long time.
In the open air. But I went to.
By the way, I'm realizing I know way too many terms with regards to this topic.
And now I realize I was probably lied to, because years ago I was at Magic Mountain, and at every roller coaster, I was like, who the fuck is smoking pot right out in the open? So I just happened to mention to a security guard, I'm like, wow, you guys are really lax about letting people smoke pot in here. And he's like, we're up in the mountains. It's just skunks. He's like, it's skunk weed. This is skunks. And I was like, oh, okay. That seems legitimate. Magic Mountain is in the desert, up in the middle of fucking nowhere. Wildlife doesn't seem completely inappropriate.
You really just went with skunks?
Yeah, you bought that?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming. I mean, if I was telling a cop, no, there's just a skunk in that bush, then I'd have a problem with it. But when the cop's telling me it's a skunk,
you're gonna buy it.
I am want to
They're
believe
telling
him.
you that they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
That's a skunk.
I do enjoy how if you change the story, it's completely different.
Yeah, then.
I'm supposed to believe it's a skunk, but if I use that line on you, I'm going to jail?
Yeah. Listen, La Cienega, let's just have a conversation. Let's flag this shit.
I'm going to flag the hell out of that.
All right, well, whatever you do, don't search for hashtags like Oxycontin, fentanyl, et cetera, because Instagram is taking them down. Marty?
Very nice.
that was a blunt handoff.
Yeah.
Very nice.
How did we get here?
Very nice.
How did we get here?
That's how you get roaches.
That's right. You're
Oh.
good. You're good. That's
nervous.
very good. I like it.
The bug spray doesn't come till Friday, so I'm very nervous.
Is that your dealer? Is that your
No, it's literally getting sprayed for bugs.
Well, speaking of drugs, the answer is blowing in the wind. Is really what it is.
I know what this is going.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. Roll up those windows, people, because you never know what's going to happen Amen. Did you hear me? All right, good. Because apparently in Florida, like you do in Florida, a woman blames a windy day for cocaine that flew into her purse.
My God, I saw this headline.
Oh, I thought that was
See?
great.
Again, if the cop tells you it
That's
blew
right.
in the purse.
That's right. A woman in Florida who was arrested on suspicion of drug possession claimed cocaine found on her must have flown into her purse because
This
it
is
was
her.
a
This is
windy
the-
day.
the
Oh, there
brainiac
she is.
here.
Yep, Brainiac right there. Kenesha Posey.
It looks like it
26.
was windy that day. Look at her.
Look at her hair.
Yeah.
Look at her weave.
It was windy. Maybe it's true.
It could be true.
We don't
did
know.
it land in the
Benefit of
baggie?
the doubt.
Innocent until
was it in a
proven
baggie?
guilty.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so windy. I better get
Yeah.
this.
You better get this
What?
Ziploc
Hold
bag.
my purse up.
I was trying to catch some butterflies and I got some blow instead.
Got a gram of coke
As
in
a
my...
woman who doesn't know how cocaine is sold,
That's
is a Ziploc baggie appropriate?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
About yay big.
Oh, okay.
So she was pulled over, but she said she has no idea how the drug got into her purse. She had no idea. So it must have been the breeze. I don't know anything about any cocaine.
I don't.
It reminds me of that Cops episode that I just love so much. I ain't a drug dealer. I'm a well-known prostitute. I'm like, God, it's my favorite. I don't know anything about any cocaine.
I am a well-known prostitute.
I don't know
I'm
anything.
not sullying my bad name.
That's one of my favorite
I know.
videos.
Ask my son. Okay. Because that's not weird. I wonder if Kenesha Posey grew up in that house. Anyway, she don't know anything about any cocaine, she told officers, according to a police report. It's a windy day. It must have flown through the window and into my purse. Of course it did. Posey was one of two people in the car when it was pulled
Twister,
over
twister.
by the police because she was swerving.
I would have gone.
I bet it was
That one
once
put it there.
Well, and if you're the passenger, if I'm the passenger, I am laughing so fucking hard. And apparently they smelled marijuana. The cops did as they approached.
Same breeze?
So if I'm stoned
Crosswind.
and sitting in the
Crosswind.
passenger seat,
Pet skunk.
yeah, right.
My bad.
Yeah.
I guess I should have told you that first.
Officer, I have a
Right, right.
skunk in the trunk of
Yeah,
this car.
here's my license and registration, and there may or may not have been a skunk in the car recently.
And a breeze.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, this
That's why
must
the
have been
windows
a
were down.
hell of a wind.
Yeah.
A hell of a wind because they didn't just find
It was a mighty
an
wind.
inkling. They didn't
Twister,
just find
twister.
some
A
cocaine.
light dusting.
A light dusting, as it were. They found bags of cocaine.
Again, so she did. Yeah, it did.
bags of cocaine.
It's very Camelot. And, the leaves blow away into neat little piles.
It was. I don't know how
Here
that
in
happened.
Camelot.
But she, even though she admitted marijuana was hers,
Well, God
she
bless
admitted.
her.
I mean, she admitted that.
And
but
Florida
the bags
doesn't have easy marijuana laws.
Yeah, but she maintained she had no idea how that cocaine ended up inside her purse. Not just by her, but inside the bags of
Sure,
it.
sure.
So, anyway, the 26-year-old was arrested. God, I don't know why. With a felony count of cocaine possession and a misdemeanor count of the marijuana. Later released on bond.
So
Well,
on a
the money just blew in.
On a really serious note, though,
Yeah, uh-oh.
that woman is never going to be able to vote again unless they change the laws in Florida.
Yeah, because it's a felony.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Florida has one of the strictest disenfranchisement laws.
So you're all caught up on pods.
Yeah, I'm caught up on Pod Save America.
Because they were live from Miami.
Oh.
Or Sarasota. They were live from somewhere.
Clearwater.
Pod
Save America was in Clearwater, and I just finished Love It or Leave It, and he was in Miami.
He was in Miami, and you couldn't see. He was having a hard time selling tickets at first.
What? I couldn't tell.
He was like, Miami, buy tickets. What the fuck? Very funny. All right, is it my turn?
It
Sure.
is.
It can be.
Just roll up your windows, people. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, and don't take a train, because T.J. Miller, comedian, found himself in some serious trouble with the law when he supposedly called in a fake bomb threat for personal gain. On the 9th of April, yesterday, we can call that, police arrested him while he was driving. He was riding. He wasn't driving. That's a whole different offense if he was driving it. He was riding the Amtrak train in Queens, New York. According to documents obtained by Us Weekly and released by the United States Attorney, Todd was on the train on the 18th of March when he called the police and reported a woman acting suspiciously who appeared to be in possession of a bomb. The bomb squad showed up at the scene and searched the premises after everyone had been evacuated. However, they found nothing and soon looked to Miller for answers. So he must have given his name.
Right.
Like, at some point to this bomb threat. According to the report, when the police questioned him for the second time, they claimed he had a different description of her when asked what she looked like again. Additionally, the authorities smelled alcohol in his breath and clothing. Miller told the police that the woman was acting weird, including repeatedly checking her bag and never pulling anything out of it, as well as leaving her purse on the train after she exited. The police noticed the comedian was slurring his speech, and he said he had drunk 1 glass of wine. Miller told the investigator on the telephone call that it was the first time he had ever made such a call to the police. I'm worried about everyone on that train. Someone has to check that lady out. In the end, squad investigating his claims determined that TJ was not actually on the train he claimed to be on.
Oh.
Moreover, train attendants said he appeared to be very drunk and ordered several drinks on board, so over-serving.
Mm-hmm.
Miller also fought with another passenger, the woman he complained about, and had to be forcibly removed. So then he, called her in as, a bomb-carrying terrorist. So the police eventually concluded that he had lied about the woman in an attempt to get revenge. On the 10th of April, Miller was released from jail on a $100,000 bond, and if extended to the full extent of the law, will serve up to 5 years in prison. And the fine is huge, too. It's more than just the $100,000. There is a substantial fine, even if he doesn't. And this is the tool. I don't find him very funny. That's why
I don't even know his name. I didn't recognize it when you posted it earlier.
He's on Silicon Valley, and then he ended up hosting a year or two ago. He's the obnoxious guy
with the beard,
and the curly hair, and
he's always kind of gross and sketchy to me.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of gross.
Oh.
Wait, show me the picture right quick.
No, that doesn't.
No, hang on.
Him.
He's the voice of Mucus in the Mucinex commercials.
Well, there you go.
Well, that makes sense
So
from what you're saying.
Yeah,
he always strikes me as the kind of guy that if I got cornered by him at a house party, I would claw my way away from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
I don't feel like what he's doing on Silicon Valley was acting.
Now I know who he is. That's wow.
Yeah, and he's
I feel
always
like that's legitimately him.
Yeah, he's always kind of skeeved me out and left me with that little.
Because
feeling.
I'm all of every time
voices.
I Google who's the voice of whatever to figure out, but yeah, he's the voice of the little blob, that wants to go to work with you during the day, and they're like, no, I just took 12-hour Mucinex, and he has to stay home.
So he doesn't annoy me in that, but he
Well,
hosted
you don't have to see him.
Yeah, he
better
hosted an award show, the Critics' Choice Awards or something, a year or two ago, and I'm like, no, this isn't working. You're not famous enough or funny enough to be hosting this
off,
event.
right.
Yeah,
Sure.
you're failing on a couple different counts.
Yeah.
And I kind of stopped watching Silicon Valley, and then I found out he left the show.
Are you watching a new show called Silicon Valley?
Silicon Valley. Yeah. I do that all the time.
It's about breast augmentation.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You really do that all the time. Silicon Valley. And and it's one of those shows that you watch the 8 episodes every year for 2 laughs. It's always the build up to
I
one
abandoned that one
really
quick.
good
Yeah.
laugh. But you're like, wow, that was a lot of time to waste.
Because that first season was a lot of work to get there, and then I kind of got on board, and then about halfway through the second season, I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I do not care about any
It's
of
not
these
nearly
gross
as
boys.
funny.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, it's all that.
Yeah.
and it's really and not that I'm above it, but it's really gross boy humor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They did awful things to the one girl that was on there for a while, and I'm like, ugh, no.
Yeah, and I'm kind of
enough.
Yeah.
there's another article about I guess The Simpsons finally handled Apu and Lisa Simpson, right? Is that the daughter?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She looks over and sees a picture of Apu, and it says "Don't have a cow," and it was kind of oh, guys,
Don't have a cow, man.
yeah, but that's what was written on Apu's picture was kind of get over it.
Oh.
This joke's gonna
okay.
continue.
Sure.
And
But that's a Bart Simpsonism.
Right.
We don't have a cow.
Correct, because
man.
that was Bart's phrase.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
exactly.
isn't also the joke with that is the fact that from Apu's culture he wouldn't eat cows?
Yeah, and that's their
So
saying.
there's 3 jokes in there they're trying to get across.
So it just kind of it's one of those things where and the writer was it's a funny show. They're on point, but they really need to fix this.
They're not gonna fix it.
No, they're not. They're 30 years into it, but it was just funny.
Though that documentary that we watched, not together. There's something wrong with Apu or whatever it was called.
Yeah, that documentary.
We watched. It was interesting to see because no, you don't always think about things like that. But years ago when they started that character, well, what voice is he going to have? And that's what he came up with.
Right, and they and that's what this article that I just read today said. Couple white writers sitting around a room getting a laugh out of it, being nothing offensive there, move on, you know. So, but what do you do? But that's my problem with Silicon Valley is it just sometimes it's ugh.
Yeah, it's that.
Well, but you're going to
gross-
have the same thing. Like, let's just say SNL. You know, if SNL is doing a skit and all of a sudden they're supposed to be in a market in whatever country, somebody's going to put on some stupid accent to make it be from whatever country, whether it's right or wrong.
Right.
So they're still going to be doing it.
And that's one thing to do an accent to give you a sense of place, and it's another to just get the laugh out of, like make
out
the
of
cab driver
stereotype.
this, make you know what I mean, make the Mexican busboy like.
Fine line between satire and offensive comedy.
Right. It is.
And SNL doesn't always make it on the right side of the line.
Yeah. They have stumbled and fallen on that sword a few times, and God bless them for doing it.
What was it I said last week? Down syndrome girl, talk from Family Guy.
Right.
There is nothing right about all of that.
No.
The dog.
I feel like he succeeds. I feel like for some reason Seth MacFarlane succeeds more than other shows do. Like I don't know if I just find him funny enough.
Because it's a musical. It's a musical.
Oh,
That's
wonderland.
true. Putting it in a musical
Context,
number,
it wins
really
me over.
helps.
But I find that. But there's just something about knowing, like getting to know him through all of his different appearances and stuff like that. That, like to me, he doesn't fall on the sword. He kind of succeeds, and he's so offensive.
Oh, it's horribly, but it's fantastic.
Like-
I also love the fact that every talk show that he's on, he has a drink like Dean Martin used to.
Yeah.
Like every show he's on. Graham Norton, he's just drinking.
Keep up your persona. But so this TJ Miller guy might be gone for a while because
Yeah.
I just don't see anybody. I don't think he's famous enough to get any kind of leniency.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Who's gonna bail him out?
He's just
Not
gonna go
talented
down,
enough that it's gonna.
and I don't think the stint in rehab is gonna get him the support he like. I just don't think he's a beloved enough figure to.
Was he one of the writers on Silicon Valley?
No,
Just an actor?
I don't know. Just an actor. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, what's he going to get released and then write a story about something to do with
Oh no, he
Metro
already
Transit?
dropped out of the show because he said that his character had gone.
Oh.
It'd been like 2 years
It's
of like
full
the
arc.
same joke, and like he was kind of done. Which I had to give him credit for that.
Gotcha.
We had a lot of mileage out of that story.
We did. It was enjoyable. Well, we're going to get some more mileage out of a story from last week that I reported on. Do you remember? I showed you this picture. Remember this guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember this guy?
Good friend.
Well, he's back. He's back again because he, once wasn't enough.
This time from the basement.
So well, no, he's not.
He's clawing his way out.
Yeah. He kind of clawed his way out, actually. So, anyway, this picture that I'm showing right now depicts a gentleman falling through the ceiling of a house. Well, apparently, this man, Kansas man, made headlines last week after falling through his ex-girlfriend's ceiling. Well, he's back in the news after breaking into a different home and stealing clothing this time. His name is Tyler Bergkamp. He's 25 years old. And, oh, let me show you what a looker he is. Here's his
We
arrest.
get to see his top
Here's
hat.
look at that. He's a prize.
Tyler.
I'm still now. If you'll recall,
Doesn't he look like Lurch?
methamphetamines was involved in the story last week, so
Yeah.
Can't tell.
I can see that.
First of all, Tyler, rule number 1 of lurking in the attic: you walk on the joist.
right, Walker, exactly.
Never walk on the sheetrock. Always.
Spend a
walk
lot of
on the
time in
joist.
attics. eh?
I sure have.
Okay,
yeah.
well, there's that. We'll get back to Kat Carlson and her
little
attic
concerned.
stories. Well, anyway, Tyler Bergkamp
Okay, Ann.
was arrested last week for stalking his ex-girlfriend
What I lived in one once.
and also time in the hospital treating injuries from a sustained fall. But if you all recall, it was a sustained fall from the ceiling, and then her boyfriend pulled him out of the house, beat the shit out of him, and then cops took him away. That's how that whole
And so
story
you
went.
want new clothes. I mean, you want it's a whole
Right.
new you.
So the Salina, Kansas Journal reported that he called his ex several times from the hospital to ask her to come to the facility, even though she had already filed a protection order against him. Well, when his ex complained about the phone calls, police went to the hospital to pursue him. Well, they found out he had left the hospital about 9:50 a.m. And it wasn't until early that evening that the authorities were then tipped off to his whereabouts, learning that a person was seen trespassing into a house about 3 blocks from the hospital. Coincidentally, the woman from there had returned home to find a Salina Regional Hospital health center gown on her bed and noticed that her clothes had been disturbed. When police finally made contact with the 25-year-old, he was wearing the T-shirt taken from the home. In addition to
So
the
now it's a cross-dressing
Oh,
story.
it's
Now he's
crazy.
transitioning it.
Tell me it was a pair of juicy sweatpants.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yoga pants.
well, no, it just said T-shirt.
Because they always say it right across the back.
Right,
Yeah.
juicy.
True.
Right.
Okay, good to her. Got it.
Or cake.
Yeah.
But it just said T-shirt. Now, what I'm concerned with, it said that there was a gown at the house, so I'm thinking he was maybe sans pants.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, in addition
Decided
to
to Winnie the Pooh it.
right. In addition to
Donald Duck it.
in addition to the previous charges he already faced, police are requesting Additional charges of violating a protection order, stalking, burglary, and theft to be added to the aforementioned charges. Prosecutors did not respond to an email asking whether he had attorneys at this time or not.
But positive thoughts on the transition into transvesticism.
Best of luck, sir
Good
or
luck to you, sir or
ma'am.
ma'am. Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh.
Just full on Porky Pigging it down the street.
There's a lot of pantsless cartoon characters.
Oh, there are.
Really?
Bugs Bunny never. Well, when this
He's
except he was in
completely
drag.
Show me on the doll. Show me on the poo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Winnie the Pooh and Porky Pig
There's
always have
Donald
shirts
Duck.
on.
Yeah.
all three of those little pigs.
Did Petunia
Yeah.
Pig? She only had like a little
I thought
ruffle.
she wore a little dress.
Did she have a dress?
Yeah,
Petunia?
but nothing
She had a little
underneath.
dress
I'm afraid to look
Bad
now.
whore.
With the
If
pig? or-
Petunia was doing the full beaver, I just don't want to know.
I have to look now.
Wow, I have to too.
Oh boy.
All full up.
Google
Please
it.
don't go Petunia's beaver.
Petunia Pig.
Oh no! See, she's got a smart
boy.
little
Oh,
polo
she-
shirt on and a little dress.
Well, no. Well,
Smart
she's got a
little
lot of baby
polo
doll
shirt.
dresses from what I see.
Yeah, she's
wow.
got some dresses going on.
Oh, and she's come
I'm
a
not
long.
looking.
She's come a long way
So
too.
Porky-
We're
She
not
used to be-
seeing her
Looking.
tail.
Mm-mm. Oh.
Oh.
Oh, you mean? Oh, I
Oh.
see.
Yeah,
Oh,
because she's a
oh.
pig.
Okay. Right.
She's a
I got
pig.
a little uncomfortable with that.
Who brought the bacon?
What?
Speaking of pigs, this next woman, a married teacher in Oklahoma, was arrested for allegedly having sex with a student amid the statewide teacher walkout.
Wait a minute. Now I want to see. Danny and Summer's hands right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, I think they went to bed.
Oh well, they listen tomorrow, so somebody better report back to us. And she didn't mean to call you a pig
Bitches
At all.
like people like this bitch
at all. Just
is
a
why
kid.
we can't have nice things.
So he stood
no.
on a desk
State-
and cried union?
She,
Yeah.
That'll get me
Whoa.
going.
Right. Teachers in Oklahoma are like walking out and
That's
striking it. You know what I mean? Like they're
It's a big
doing
deal.
their thing
Yep.
for their pay raise, and they deserve it 100%.
Right. Did it in Arizona
Right.
today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
Did they
they're
walk
doing
out today?
No, tomorrow they're doing a walk-in.
Right. I knew about the walk.
But I swear I read it. There was a
They
headline
may
there
have
about a
some. They
walkout.
may have done something.
All right.
There's
Sorry.
talk of a walk out, but I haven't seen a date yet.
The teachers want to keep it at a level where they're walking in so that the kids' instruction doesn't get
Right.
jacked up. So they would be making a statement, but not interrupting their instruction at this point.
Right now,
At this
right.
point, right.
Well,
They were
they're
talking about the
more.
24th? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
It's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I think that it's the 24th. Sounds right to me. Anyway, digress.
But non-existent God, please smite the people that decide to use this time to go have
Yeah.
sex with a student.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carrie
Oh,
Hoffman.
I didn't hear the student.
Oh,
part.
yeah, no.
Oh, sorry, Danny and Summer didn't mean that.
I was wondering how you were. How
No,
you were,
I heard went off and had sex, and I was thinking that did.
Oh.
My bad.
With a
That-
student. Carrie Hoffman, 35 years old, admitted to police on Saturday that she had sex with a 15-year-old student before and after they attended a massive teacher rally protesting the pay cuts at the Capitol.
Each 15.
Yep, she's a middle school teacher, and
Wow.
they reportedly became involved.
in the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
On the last day of classes before the strike, and so now they've got all this time on their fucking hands.
Mary Kayla, fuck you. Ugh, that's
Oh,
gross.
Mary Kate Letourneau.
Yeah, that's.
And remember how she turned up on
disgusting.
30 Rock? Remember how that storyline played out
No.
on 30 Rock and it was Susan Sarandon and Jonah?
No, I
remember
don't.
that.
That's
That
fantastic.
Jonah, the writer, turned out to be the boy that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear God.
Awful people doing
So,
awful
okay,
things.
so they just got caught in this. Now, there's no pregnancy involved in any of this. There's.
Well, she went with her husband.
don't
on
know yet, it just
Saturday.
happened.
Well, no, she just confessed. She went with her husband on Saturday to the police department, where she allegedly confessed to having sex with the student on numerous occasions. She told authorities that she used Facebook to message the boy and arrange the encounters, which occurred in her car in her dad's garage.
Did Zuckerberg talk about that today?
Classy lady.
Wow.
No.
Classy lady. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
classy
real nice.
lady.
Wow.
Unreal.
I know it. I know it. She's
What a dumb
been
bitch.
booked into Custer County Jail.
I want to see the
So
garage.
no, I'm
charges.
thinking.
Is that a nice garage?
I
Wanna
feel
see
like
her
she's not
garage.
gonna. She's not gonna. Yeah, something was parked. It was a little Carmen Gia. It was just, anyway 15.
Wow.
So, what?
I think we all have to walk away from that one.
Look at these
Anyway.
Pringles over here. I'm going to have one.
Yeah.
Good God.
Well, I do the Mechanophile story, so you know,
Yeah.
whatever,
Sure.
come on. that just is not. She's not going to get the raise then, or did she?
I think she
I
got
think
the
she
raise.
got the raise. Is that no?
Little something
all
extra in
right.
the paycheck.
No,
Wow.
I just wasn't
Got that
sure.
German soldier marching.
Something.
And there it is.
How did we get here?
So now you said that she had gone with her husband to the police department to confess or to give herself up or whatever it was.
Correct.
Now, did she just do this because she had a guilty conscience, or did somebody rat her out, or how did this come
Yeah,
about?
that's what I was wondering too.
Because I doubt the 15-year-old.
Somebody had to have ratted her out. You know, it talks about this teacher talking to investigators and kind of confessing. So there had to have been some sort of there must have been some sort of heat on her.
Yeah. Can really bring the heat.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure. Okay, never mind.
Tell me.
No, because
I'll make it up if I don't know.
no.
Notes on
How
the
okay? How old is she?
35.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to figure out.
what you're
I'm just thinking. You're 35 years old.
Yeah.
I just don't know how are you connected to this kid on Facebook, and what makes you just decide that this is going to be your target?
She's his teacher.
Yeah.
No, right. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean they're connected on Facebook. But I mean, did she seek him out as? I just think I don't know what's going through her head for this.
You know, there's not really an essay on motive here.
Okay, well, that's what I'm looking for.
And I feel
How did we get here, Mrs.?
She had a stirring in her loins, and she decided to.
Well, that little boy looks fine to me.
I
Right?
think that we should have a walkout and then go to the garage. Like what?
Well,
yeah,
we got time on our hands, right?
Well, first
have
the
a little
car.
strike action.
Yeah, first the car.
Well, because it's closest. We've all been there.
I mean, not there.
Well,
Well, not quite there,
Not in
but
Oklahoma.
you know, I don't want to drive all the way home before I get this party started. The parking lot of the bar's just fine by me. We've all been there.
Fair point.
Oh,
well
there's
made.
so many
Have you seen my new Miata?
bad jokes that might introduce the FCC to our show, so I'll just stay away from them.
I know entirely too much about a Ford Focus.
Wow.
Got to be awfully bendy for that.
Yeah, let's just say it.
Well, at 35 and 15, they both should be.
Yeah, Ford Focus is really a younger man's game.
Yeah, that's really a venue for your 20s, honestly.
Had it been the 70s, it would have been a newly designed hatchback. I'm going
The
to
Chevy
assume.
Shove It.
The Chevy
Well,
Shove
if
It.
it's lesbians, it'd probably be a Subaru.
Shove It, yeah.
Right.
You know, the little.
The Chevy Citation was also nice and roomy in a hatchback.
Oh, that's true. It was. It was also known as the Pontiac Phoenix.
I made it work in a Chevy Chevette, so
Had a girl.
not my own.
I'm sorry to hear
Speaking of
not my
making it
car.
work, Marnie Ryer.
Well, I decided to just get away from Ann Hunter because you know what? Quite frankly, she just is awful. So I decided I don't want to do that.
Okay.
But there was something that made me happy that someone did with fat shaming, and I appreciated it. There was a woman that was fat shamed by bakery customers, and she got her revenge.
Their best customer.
I know, right? It was the customers behind her.
Leave some for us.
Yeah, right. Well, see, the woman was fat shamed at a bakery,
I wasn't
and she
expecting a
ended
dramatic
up.
reenactment.
She ended up spending what? What'd you say?
This one.
Oh, that one. Okay. I thought you
Dramatic
were-
Playing
I
the
was
role
like,
of all
I'm
the
a-
customers.
I'm a punch it. Ended up spending $54, which tells me there wasn't a whole lot there, but buying every single cupcake in the store to get back at the woman that was behind her that taunted her.
At a girl.
Oh, we've done a story like
Yeah.
this before.
Vega Blossom is her name, which I do appreciate.
Sure.
Vega Blossom
Oh.
was waiting in line at her favorite bakery when she overheard an older woman standing behind her. And the woman said, "Let's hope this fat bitch doesn't buy all the cupcakes."
Oh.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Well, the 19-year-old had originally planned on buying only 6 cupcakes, but then decided to purchase the shop's entire stock of 20 to teach the rude onlooker a lesson. When I heard
Those
the
are
nasty
reasonably
things,
priced
I think
cupcakes.
Yes,
That's
so
they
like
are.
as well.
$2.75 a cupcake. I'm
When-
on board.
I agree. When I heard the nasty
It's a
things the
reasonable
woman
price to be
said,
a
I had my
shitty
phone out
person.
specifically to do that math. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait.
she said, I honestly wanted to cry, but you know, it hurt her feelings. Obviously,
Fuck you
right?
feel so much better, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Better than thin fields.
How
Yeah.
could these grown women be so mean to someone they've never met, let alone talked to? So growing up, she said she was a chubbier girl, and she always got snide comments about her weight from people who, for some reason, think it's their business. She said things like this usually wouldn't bug me, but the fact that I didn't know these women and that they said this so rudely and loudly, so I could obviously hear it, was different than other times, she says. But Vega, she apparently wears a size 22, said that she decided to swallow the hurt and thought of a way to get back at them that would teach them about respect. My favorite part is the very end. Hopefully this was a lesson in treating others kindly and maybe a lesson in karma as well. She said she went on to share the post about her petty reaction to the incident, which occurred just before closing time during an Easter sale. So the cupcakes were on sale. Let's not get crazy.
Still allow it.
I
No,
know, right?
Yeah.
So it's since gone viral. The post, this Vega describes how when she first entered the shop, she overheard the women making loud and rude comments about the person at the front of the line who was taking a substantial amount of time deciding which cake to purchase. Vega claims the clearly displeased older woman, she just sounds like an old bitch, really.
Yeah.
And her friend sneered at her as she made her purchase of 20 mega-sized cupcakes. They're mega-sized as well for that price.
Oh.
Each
a
the
great
size
price.
of 3 regular cupcakes.
Where are we going for
What?
cupcakes?
I know, right? And her shut up, Marty post was tonight I was really petty. She said, so I saw on Facebook that a local bakery was having a sale on everything before they closed tonight. So I headed over there. There was a lady in front of me getting a cake and a lady behind me with her friend as I was waiting in line. Lady in front of me took forever getting her cake, and the lady behind me was getting really impatient and rudely talking about it. I ignored it until the lady in front of me left, and as I walked up to the counter, the lady turns to her friend and says, "Thank God. Now let's hope this fat bitch doesn't buy all the cupcakes." Originally, I was buying 6, but as soon as I heard that, I just bought, and she has it in all uppercase. I bought every damn cupcake. I
Atta
spent
girl.
$54 on cupcakes just to be a bitch. Happy Easter.
He has risen
and-
indeed.
Well, absolutely.
the
Roll
form
that
of a
rock
cupcake.
back. But she got her final revenge as she walked out of the bakery. I looked the pair straight in the eye and I asked, "Could you please open the door for me? My hands are a bit full." I said, "Well played." Reluctantly, the woman held the door open before following me outside. I think if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. I am not sorry for taking all the cupcakes, she says. Vega shared the spoils with her coworkers, friends, and family over the Easter break before posting the story on social media.
That's fantastic.
Well done, Vega
Yeah.
Blossom.
We did a story some time back that was very similar to that, where I want to say there was a guy with his son or something in line at a bakery, and it had to do with, I forget what it was, cookies or some other
Sure.
pastry or something. And somebody had made a comment, and he did the same thing. He bought everything that
love
they
it.
had, so that whoever was
Yeah.
lipping off was
You
just
get
shafted.
nothing,
Right.
yeah.
And I forget exactly what it was, but I
Love
thought
it.
it was a pastry of some sort.
Sure. I love it. That's fantastic.
We had a night at work where this older nurse that we work with talked about how, like, in her younger days when she was trying to stay up all night to be a night nurse, that she would eat like a dozen donuts.
Oh, all that sugar?
Yeah, and
Seems
like,
legit, sure.
and she's a fucking rail, and like everyone's like, "You did not." She's like, "I legitimately used to eat a dozen donuts a night
Sure.
to stay awake. I needed the sugar." So the doctor went down to the cafeteria when they opened at 5, and he bought like all the donuts out of the pastry cabinet, and then he was like, "Fuck it," and he just brought everything.
Wow.
So, and he brought it up, and he had it in a garbage bag, and he's like, "All right, I want to see you eat this."
No.
And it was just so fucked up, and it was one of those nights where like something just strikes you as funny and you can't stop. Well, then we were stuck with like all of the pastries that were meant for the hospital for the entire day in a garbage bag on our pod, and everyone was calling because people went down there for their morning donut.
Do you have all the donuts up
and
there?
they're like, "Oh, they said a doctor up there." I'm
Sir?
like, "Yes, just come
up.
Just please
just come
get
up.
them.
We plated them up. They're all over the place. Come get free
The whole
donuts."
pod smells like sugar
And I think
maple.
she said that night she ate 4 and got sick because she was trying to see if she could still do it. And
No.
she's
Oh, my.
and at 4 she was like,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the sugar kind of just where you have sweaters on your teeth. You're like, forget. I can't.
"Oh yeah."
Oh, no.
Yuck.
And everyone's there
That's
is
like, I'm
that there
fine.
is that morning though because
But the more tired I get, the more sugar I eat. Like that's just that's.
and that was her thing. Yeah, that
I don't remember how the chart
and
works.
she
with
is
that, so-
a rail.
Well, it's not that fucking food pyramid, because that was wrong.
And she's one of those people that's so
Oh,
skinny
yeah,
that
okay,
like
nice.
have you eaten one donut in your life? There's no way you ever ate
Nobody's
one
ever
dozen
asked me
at any
that.
one time. Yeah. So one of my favorite stories at work was
Well, at some
having to
point,
take
her
the phone call
metabolism
all
is-
night long.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is funny.
Yeah.
Val, are there donuts up there?
We have all the pastries.
That's a powerful position to be in.
Oh, by the way,
to be in
Like,
control
that's
of all the
that's
pastries.
a very
By the way,
powerful position.
Flashing back to a cat story a little bit earlier about the
Let's.
Petunia pig we were talking about. So this is is Petunia pig.
Sure.
In most stories, she's got a skirt of some sort on. But I'd forgotten early renditions of Petunia were slightly different. She looked a little Lulu Roman-esque from Hee Haw.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awful.
So that was early. Well, and Porky was very similar to this too. When Warner Brothers did a whole revamp, they changed it, and most everybody then looked more like that. Porky was a little bit more of a round face, but
he was a little more porky.
Even
Porky,
Petunia,
yeah.
even Petunia found love.
Yeah.
I can't get a
I think
text
that's a
back.
smart
So
get-up.
this isn't so much a story as it is a light commentary. Sometime last week was the opening of baseball season.
Yep.
And
Last Thursday.
Oh, I
we
missed it entirely.
we were watching opening day. My friend Kevin and I had gone to the movies, and we were watching opening day from a bar TV.
Okay.
And I was like, "It's an opening day," because there was kind of a big deal, but there's no people in attendance.
It was the first time in I forget how many years, a long ass time, that every single team was on the field the same day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's true.
And I've been like from a long time ago.
Yep.
And but I was just commenting as we were watching. I'm like, it felt like the last time I went to a baseball game that there wasn't a lot of people there, and that day for opening day, I'm like, for opening day in such nice weather, whatever the team that we were watching, we weren't watching the Diamondbacks, but whatever the
venue,
the venue was, I'm like, that's kind of a sparse crowd for Fishes and Loaves night.
Sure.
If there's a religious
I
baseball,
figured-
someday I'll play this religious baseball thing that's very funny.
Okay.
So the 2018 baseball season is not even 2 weeks old, but it appears Chicago White Sox fans are already disinterested. Monday's game
Well, it's
against
the White Sox now. Hang
right.
on a second.
But the
Hold
Tampa
on.
Bay Rays had an official attendance of 10,377, meaning there's probably season ticket holders. They just buy up. But the number of spectators actually at the stadium was much lower. According to the Tampa Bay Times, only 974 people showed up.
Wow.
And then the next game,
Not even a tenth, right? You said there were 10,000 tickets sold.
Oh yeah,
so not even a tenth of that showed up. Wow.
Oh wait, there's another number in here too.
Good night, Amina.
Of the second day.
Have a great night, Amina. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, they don't give another number. But the next day, they have another empty stadium where they're trying to say there's 10,000 seats. And, there's clearly no one in the stadium.
10,000 seats.
10,000.
Not people filling them.
Right. But it was really, oh, and Amina, I had something for you in entertainment. So just remember the one part.
And I still
But it just
get,
struck me as odd as but they have so many games in the course of a baseball
my
season.
God.
There's 140 games or some absolute nonsense of a number.
It goes forever.
I can't. It's like watching paint dry. My grandmother.
With my apologies to the paint.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
My mother's mother loved baseball. She would sit and watch it, and I'm like, oh dear God. And my mom's the same way. It's like, I'm not a big sports fan, but baseball sure as hell doesn't move fast enough to keep me entertained.
Yeah,
or,
football's exciting, and there's only
gets-
16 games, so every game is important.
And,
or what is there? 17 games, 16 games, something.
16 to be yeah. But when it gets to that baseball, honest to God, 9 innings. And then if it goes into overtime, oh my God, or extra innings, oh my God. But I always, by the time it's the 4th inning, I'm like, it has to be the 9th inning.
Right.
This has to be done.
Right.
It's super close, right?
And then
we're gonna stretch in a minute.
Oh my God!
no.
And I used
and then they
to
can tie, and they
love
can go to
it.
16 to 17
I don't remember
innings.
that.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was a baseball kid forever, and we were so excited.
Oh, that's right. You used to know all the stats.
I used to know
and everything.
every stat on every dude on my team, and we used to be able to just watch the bullpen and know who's pitched this year and how much. We used to know everything.
Okay.
And I used to get banished to the farm, my grandparents' farm, for the summer because I was a rotten kid that couldn't be left at home alone.
Right.
Can we send you back to that farm?
Sure,
Oh, wow.
sure. They'd be delighted to have me. But the big news was that my grandmother had a satellite dish. One of those big ones
right.
that you could live in.
Yeah.
And we
If
got
you so desired.
right. We tried one time and got in a lot of trouble.
It's not a hammock. It's a satellite receiver.
Right. We thought it would be a really great place to lay down, and maybe we could hear some things from space. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like 10.
Yeah.
Anyway, we somehow were spoiled children and got like the baseball package and got literally every game all summer one year. And it was the best thing ever.
Okay.
We had our giant baseball card collections all laid out, and yeah,
I can't
like
even
our own
imagine.
fantasy league. It was
I
crazy.
thought those baseball cards were only for the spokes in a
bike.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was
I mean-
all it was for.
Yeah, mine are all still sitting in my mom's house.
Yeah,
just
but
waiting.
Gina has the
I
same.
did a s-
Gina's the same way. Like she has all their.
You could
baseball
probably
cards.
pay off
Oh,
something.
you probably could.
With all the cards you've got. I would.
You know, it's funny because the collectibles market isn't
The
Oh, it's
same.
in the
like
shitter.
peaked anymore. Yeah, it's kind of
Okay, maybe you could pay off something.
Because they got to be
Maybe.
super rare now.
right,
Because everybody they
Mass
they,
produce
yeah,
so
they-
many.
yeah.
right.
And they're having
And like if you have one that's signed, it's not worth anything supposedly. They have a big thing where if it's if it's signed on a different card, because now they have so many different
Right.
cards, and so if you walk up to someone, it doesn't matter what sport, and you hand them a card for them to sign, and you don't want to sell it, you just want to have that. If they look down and it's not who they're commissioned to be with or
Oh.
whatever, they can't sign it.
Oh.
They cannot put their signature on it at all.
And the funny
Which
thing
I
is
thought was
the funny thing
wild,
is about
but-
that is then you just have to go on the internet and Craigslist and find the person that does want that. Like it's a
Sure,
value to someone.
Yeah.
Sure.
And my
Yeah.
friends at Zia Records, right? Zia Records and Tapes. I had sold them a bunch of stuff, and the guy gave me a little piece of. He's like, "This is worth nothing to anybody. Just give that up." He's like, "This is worth some money. Here's your cash." And then he separated out all the prints, and this has been close to 20 years now, probably 99 or 2000. He's like, "This here, you just need to find a Prince collector." He's
Sure.
like, "I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
They're
tell
gonna
you
pay
as
you, right.
as a middleman,
Sure.
I'm going to put this on whatever the version of the web was 20 years ago."
Sure.
He's like, "I'm going to make it known that there's a pristine Prince collection out here." He's like, "I'm not going to give you what you should get for this." He's like, "I'm just going to tell you this is something to set aside. You're going to meet somebody who wants picture discs, everything in
Right.
pristine
Right.
collection." He's like, "This is an amazing collection, very well preserved." He's like, "You need to figure out how to sell this
Right.
correctly."
And just keep it.
He's like, I'm not the venue for this, and I'm gonna rob you blind."
Mhm.
He's like, "I'm not gonna sell this through Zia." He's like, "I'm gonna buy this for nothing and then go find a place to sell
Right.
it."
For
And
hundreds
so
of
I mean,
dollars.
it was a very kind gesture,
That's very nice.
and it must have been right before. So it must have been '98 because it must have been just before Tim moved out because he would have told me the same thing. And then I met Pandora
Scott?
Scott, huge Prince fan, took that off my hands.
Oh wow, sure.
And it was someone who it was of great value to. Like he was so into Prince, so he has all the Prince
Oh,
collectibles.
that's cool.
That's great.
Yeah, so I mean, it found the home, and so everything is of value to someone.
Sure.
Right.
Oh,
And that's the joy of
Well,
that.
the whole eBay
The
thing.
interwebs or whatever they're
Sure.
called.
It
The
is-
Book of Faces.
It is astounding that you will find the most ridiculous crap on Facebook or on eBay, and you're like, why would anybody buy that? But for example, like this mug, this mug I got. It was a McDonald's promotion from the TV station I used to work at back in. Well, see, I moved here in '93, so this would be like '90 from 1990-ish, and I still love it. But you will find that somebody maybe has the mug and has lost the top. Well, the tops are on eBay. You can just find them that somebody's random. It's just crazy the shit that
And
you
I
can
can't
find.
find my dishes. That pisses me off.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, you can find the most random things online, and
Yeah.
you don't think it's worth a dime, and somebody will pay.
My current classified ads obsession though is Tupperware.
Oh.
It's cracking me up.
Oh wait, is this the part of the crap that Barbara's been posting? Have you seen this?
Partially, yeah, no,
Oh.
yeah. I saw Barbara doing
Oh, I
it.
gotta put you on. I gotta take a picture of my dishes and go with your classifieds and
Okay,
see if
sure.
anybody's selling those.
Let me see if I
because
can.
I'm always searching for screen printing equipment right now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I get on there and I was
And you find Tupperware.
well, I was just scrolling
See,
through.
that's how I knew that I could have thrown my dishes in there. Because if she's wandering
search
off
for
into
anything, I
Tupperware,
don't
yeah,
care. No, because
I feel like the gate's
I'm
open.
I'm on OfferUp just like Barbara, and so I just scroll through the homepage, and so then that's just the most recent listings that are near to you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they've got the geographical algorithm because I plugged in my zip code or whatever, and so it's just whatever's been recent and near to you. And I scroll down, and honest to God, just a box of used as like Gladware, like not even good Tupperware.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
Just the
The
just the
disposable
Ziploc
kind.
bullshit.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
and a whole box of it. They only want $10 for it.
Oh, and I had to criticize Marnie's work the other day as I was looking for a container.
Oh,
I found the container. I'm like, well, the lids aren't with the containers in her system.
Oh no.
well, no, because you have to be able to stack them. So you have one that you put all the lids in. And actually, had I had more time, you put all the round ones together and then you put the square ones. But also, you really should have the kind that click underneath your Tupperware.
I don't even
Those
know what
are
that
nice.
means.
Yeah,
What's
those are nice.
underneath?
You can get like the lids all go together and then they click into the bottom of the Tupperware. So you
I gotta
have
up
that
my
all
Tupperware
stacked.
game is what I'm
telling
learning.
You do. It's
Well, if you
fantastic.
want some used, I know where to
Yeah,
find
right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
Because parallel to that, Abel, who works with me on Saturday nights, was complaining about not having like he makes food for literally everyone and passes it out, which is very kind.
Yeah.
But then you like deplete your Tupperware supply.
Sure.
So
It's
he was
true.
kind of complaining, just kind of not really to anyone, just out loud, very very recently. And so I started like sending him pictures of the ads.
Well, it's always played.
Much
If
to
someone
his
is nice
dismay.
enough to bring you food, you should be kind enough to return the Tupperware.
Oh, yeah.
I
That
do.
is-
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
And Clayton is a great proponent of this. Like,
Well, and I'm not a big part of the problem because I return the favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're
Right.
kind of competing now in
Yeah.
the dishes that we bring to work and what we make for each other.
right.
The
But
dumbest
that
things.
is the component to accepting the kind offer of food is
Oh,
to
sure.
return
It's
the
return
Tupperware.
the dish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Toot sweet.
Yep.
Toot sweet.
I'm scrolling through Barbara's Facebook feed to find, and it goes. She posts an awful lot of stuff, but
Oh, there's amazing
There's a
things.
couple of them that she posts because she just thinks they're hilarious, and it is. It's like you see it, and you're like, why would you even bother to sell that? Like that is
Yeah.
just
I found a
recyclable.
box of Tupperware with no lids, but free.
Oh, free.
Yeah, but no lids.
Well, she even posts like
Well, you can use aluminum foil or saran wrap. Works
Oh, that's true.
beautifully.
That's true.
she's even posted like gently used mattresses that are just trashed. Like people put them up for.
Oh.
They're horrible.
Horrible.
Ads. Like why would you ever
And
post
if you
that?
buy a mattress from an unknown person, don't you just deserve what you catch?
100%.
I don't even
We-
want a mattress from a known person.
Right.
Valid,
right.
valid,
Valid.
For real.
valid.
Negative. Do not
Yeah,
want.
negatory.
Do not want.
Negatory.
Like, I feel that's
Negatory.
when we
Look.
find out about burning trash and why it's so
Yes,
important.
I just opened the app, and Sarah here thinks that I'm going to pay $15 for the Jameson bottle opener and shaker tin that I'm going to get for free if I call my
Sarah.
Jameson rep. Sarah,
Sure.
nobody
But
wa-
not everybody has a rep.
Well, that's true, but Sarah doesn't know
Go
that.
find a bar and
Yeah.
ask a bartender. We give that shit out. We got a ton of
See?
it.
Yep.
Bar swag.
God.
Bar swag
Bar
is easy to
swag.
come by.
Oh, I can't believe I'm having to scroll this
What
far
is
down
this?
her
I got-
goddamn
I'm still
feed.
feeling very guilty about the Danny Summer comment about the student because I didn't hear the student part.
Oh, send him a personal one
I
for
think
tomorrow.
I should.
Yeah.
Send
You'll be
him
fine.
a message.
God,
You'll
I'm
be
really
No, I-
fine.
Just
I'm kinda-
for when you listen to the rest of it, I'm so sorry. That makes
Yeah.
me want to throw up. I'm so sorry.
I kind of feel like a personal note might be appropriate.
I
there.
What is this?
know, 'cause I honest to
$8
God
for a
didn't hear
2-gallon
anything
water
about
jug
student.
for
Oh.
a water dispenser?
All right, how did we get here?
How are
Where-
we here? What's happening?
Now we're just scrolling
No,
classified ads.
I know we're not.
What segment are we in?
I
We're
don't
still in
know.
headlines.
We're
we done?
headlines are
No,
over.
we're
Well, no, we haven't transitioned out of headlines technically.
We should probably do that soon.
Well, then let's do this and see how ready.
My God.
Good God, there's a lot going on here. Okay, so let's see how this will work for us.
Oh my God, you gotta live your whole life like it's Shark Week. And then I'm never ready with the other page. I have obsessions, a new favorite show, some movie reviews. Oh, well, you have a story about a young gentleman coming out that we're all kind of fond of. News about the James Bond franchise.
Oh.
Very
Oh.
exciting.
Who will carry the mantle? All of that coming up soon. Things too long.
I think it's time to refresh our beverages and get ready to go. It's hour 3 coming up right after this. Hold on to your wigs and keys.
David, what does burning smell like?
You're listening to Q Talk America. is the Fume Talk America Radio Network.
Everybody, we are back. It's the beginning of hour 3. We are continuing. Oh, by the way, hi, Sean Nerdahl. I see you're in the chat room. By the way, as we continue on with the stimulating, titillating, and exhilarating conversation of Tupperware, you were just saying you had way too much of it all the time.
Yeah.
I remember back living with my mother's parents when my mom moved out here. Grandma bought everything in the big margarine tubs. You'd have to go through 5 or 6 bowls in the fucking fridge to figure out what something was in.
That's right.
Because it wasn't see-through. Wasn't see-through.
That's what my parents used too. Was the all those Cool Whip tubs.
Yeah. All right, kids, we're at the beginning of hour 3. Coming up a little bit later, 2 things with Kat Carlson, thoughtful vulgarity, and many, many other things we're going to discuss. But first, let's turn this whole shit show over to the one, the only. He likes to talk a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Al Perkins.
Hi, Harrison.
Well,
Go ahead, Val.
hello. Good morning, Sean and Harrison. Welcome aboard.
Oh, hi, Harrison.
It's love. So we're going to do a couple of movie reviews because I've had a couple of days off, so I've been watching some movies.
You saw one movie that I'm really curious to hear about and I want to see.
Well, I saw Love, Simon, so I'm not sure if that's
one of them.
Oh,
no, that's the one I want to see. That's the one I want to see.
keep hearing that.
Jack Abramoff, what's his name? Jack?
Stand by.
He is from a band, and I can never remember what band he's from.
Got nothing.
He did the soundtrack, and he did it like an old John Hughes movie soundtrack. The soundtrack was just delightful. It's a very charming teen love story about a young boy who makes a internet pen pal, like, you know, one of those like Messenger, Google emails.
Okay.
Oh, there's a gossip page for the school called Creekside, which I did not understand what they were talking about because I did not catch the name of the high school. So I didn't get that Creekside was like what they called their little chat room.
Okay.
Where they would post information, but then it was also kind of a place to be catty. Well, some kid comes out on the site and says he's gay and he's feeling blue because he doesn't know what to do, and so our hero Simon gets an account under an assumed name, and they start becoming pen pals. And he starts telling him about how he's gay too, and so they, over the course of the school year,
So it's like gay, you've got mail?
kind of.
Okay.
So they have
look
this
at
thing.
you.
Did you say gay? You've got mail?
Yeah.
But then it has a nice little
I like it.
part of my teenage years twist where a note that I passed to someone in school was intercepted and read out loud.
Oh, no.
That was maybe a little bit graphic.
Right.
And it was
Something
the same.
about Cher?
It was a graphic account of a Donna Summer song. So, I mean, it was one of those things where someone finds out about, intercepts a correspondence and, like, uses it as kind of blackmail. Which, I mean, it's not what happened to me, but someone did intercept mail, and that's kind of what forced me out of the closet. So, it was an interesting, very well done, very touching. The parents, and it's Dahamel, I don't know how you say their last name. That whole family. The one is new girl,
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, Deschanel. The two sisters are famous, plus they have the hot brother. He plays the dad.
They have a hot brother?
Yes. He was on a show for years. He was on, oh God, it just ended.
You mean Josh? Is it
Duhamel?
Duhamel?
Deschanel, I don't know how to say it.
It's not the same family.
No, it is. That's their brother. There's two sisters and a brother.
The one who was with
Stand by.
Yeah, their father.
Fergie? Josh Duhamel was with Fergie.
Yeah, that's him. That's the sister.
Negative.
Really?
Yeah, negative.
Yeah.
Completely.
Well, she has a sister. The sister
yeah,
is
the
also
one
famous.
who's in Bones.
Yes, Bones.
Yeah.
Okay. Bones is the
Zoe
sister.
Deschanel.
I like how
and-
dead on accurate he is, and
whatever her
he's
face
determined it's accurate until you prove him wrong.
Until Google says no.
He's from a famous family though too, though.
No, he's from Minnesota, which is fantastic.
Right,
I
and
do appreciate that.
right was with Fergie and was on All My Children.
Yeah. And is a huge Minnesota Vikings.
And what's the
fan.
hell?
I
What
do
was the
love
show
him.
that he was on for years?
Vegas.
No.
Vegas?
TV shows, yeah.
Wait, you're not talking about the old Vegas.
No. He's not that old.
No,
Anyways,
no.
charming
James
parents.
Caan and
James Caan, and it was a couple years ago.
Oh, that show. Got it.
So,
not Vegas that you're thinking of.
I'm thinking of Dan Tana when he would drive into his car behind the
right.
whatever Stardust or whatever the fuck it
yeah.
was.
Yep.
So absolutely charming story, but the
Jesus
real
Christ, 30 years old.
Yeah.
the parents are really the highlights of this movie. Jennifer Garner, no relation to
just love
James
her.
Garner. I know that much.
I know it gets to me every time.
Jennifer Garner is
love
another
her.
movie where she is just terrific, and I just don't think people do enough with her. She's so talented. There's a really, really terrific scene with the younger sister and Simon that I really thought it's just all about like the getting to know you, and there's the big grand gesture from the 80s love stories where somebody comes in at the last minute for the grand gesture. So it's everything you wanted from an 80s teen movie, but updated. And it's Greg Berlanti who does everything from the Arrow. I mean, not Arrow, but he does the Flash. Greg Berlanti's been he's on every fucking TV show for years. Really quality work. She'll be happy to look up all the shows he does. But it turns out one of my first favorite, well, not my first, but a favorite gay movie of mine.
I just wanted, but I'm just showing Clayton just very.
Oh, from the anniversary?
Yeah.
It went away.
Oh, sorry.
I saw it quickly.
But his first foray into movie making, it turns out, was the Broken Hearts Club. One of my...
Oh, we just talked about that last week.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite gay movies that they fucked up the soundtrack on, because all the good songs in the movie they couldn't afford to put out on disc. But terrific. So his work is terrific. It's a really terrific movie. Very well done. Jennifer Garner and Josh, and he's not related to anybody. This guy.
No, he's not related to anybody.
No.
Not even his parents.
I have been telling people for years that that's
Fergie's his only connection.
Because one's Deschanel and one's Dumal. Demel?
Demel, something like that.
And Zoe doesn't have a brother?
Zoe doesn't have a brother. She has a sister who's in Bones.
Bones, okay.
Emily.
I thought
Emily, thank you.
Emily.
Yeah,
I
Emily
really,
and Zoe
honest to
Deschanel.
God, I thought they had a famous brother too.
Negative.
I'm maybe I'm mixing with the Gyllenhaals. I don't know. But anyways, he's terrific. But then somebody else that I have been confusing him with all weekend, I guess we're going to skip because we're going to go to this, because Timothy Oliphant. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I've never really known how to say his name. Santa Clarita Diet, which Amina was practically publicly shaming us into watching earlier in the year. And I watched an episode, and I guess I wasn't in the right mood for that. That show is so motherfucking funny and such a delight of a good time. It's 30 of the nicest moments you'll spend with a zombie. It's just fucking funny. And it's not Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Always solid. Right down the line, does what she has to do, gets right to the finish line. You're happy with her. But Timothy Oliphant, and I have studied this now, is somebody gave him the note, I'm convinced, went backstage and told him, I need you to do Darren Stevens.
Now, he has brothers, by the way.
I'm almost sure of that.
Which Darren?
I looked him up.
Timothy Oliphant.
No, which Darren?
Yeah.
But just the character
Dick
of Darren.
York or Dick Sargent?
Oh, but you know how they were always struggling to just make life normal?
Yes.
And I think they just told him, now imagine Darren Stevens hopped up on coffee and really trying to be woke.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And he is so funny. His line readings as he is on the verge of madness, just trying to be like, yeah, I'm going to worry about the feminism while there's blood dripping out of your mouth. Like, he's just so trying to get everybody on the same page, and he is a delight. And I had no idea he could be funny. It's kind of like finding Alec Baldwin on SNL 25 years ago. Like, when somebody who's never had a funny moment in his life, and he's also in Broken Hearts Club, now that I think about it. How's that for stringing things together?
Wow.
But he looks like
Way
that
to go,
Josh
Rachel
guy.
Maddow. He does look like that Josh guy a lot.
Yeah, so that's where my Santa Clarita Diet, just fucking funny.
I've seen several people post that they're watching it on Facebook. I have no idea anything about it. So maybe now that Schitt's Creek is doing their season finale, I can pick up and find something.
And they just released the second season a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And the other day I watched a movie so goddamn scary I thought I had to move. And so I was just looking for something.
Is that why the bug guy's coming Friday?
Yes.
Anybody want some?
I just needed company.
All right, now I'm good, thank you.
Can you come spray my house so I don't have to be in the house alone? So I watched that show, and then it has like a zombie twist, so it's kind of gory. So it was the nice transition from just absolutely fucking terrifying home invasion horror movie to this suburbia.
What did you watch?
Oh, The Last House on the Left.
Oh, no.
And I have shut that movie off twice, but I decided to be brave and like watch the rest of the movie. No, don't do it. Don't.
Stop doing that.
No,
You're not that brave.
Terrifying. No, I am not. I seriously was on the phone with my realtor, like, I can't live here anymore. I know I don't live near a lake. I'm not the last house on the left, but they still might find me.
Good gosh.
How did we get here? And it's a movie I've turned off twice because I found it too scary. But I cannot.
But
she persevered. So speaking of horror
Yet
movies,
she persisted.
She persisted. That's it. I can't get anything right.
Elizabeth Warren would be
Yes.
proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
She'd be proud.
A Quiet Place.
I can't.
Did
you go see it?
Yes, very good. And I wish I could say there was something light about it to get you in, like the movie It. Like, there's no laughs. Oh, no. You're just at nail biting.
Oh.
Who the fuck thought of this idea?
Oh, well, what's his name from The Office?
John
did?
Krasinski.
Yes.
Still
wife.
segueing
And-
Emily Blunt playing his wife in one of those movies that your ass is just in a pucker. Like, there's no one even farting in that movie because no air can escape.
All you hear is like,
Yeah, you are like a frog's ass. You are watertight.
Is a frog's ass watertight? So what?
And they got me at every single turn. And it's because
And
it's
it's called
quiet.
A Quiet Place?
The goddamn movie is there's no sound.
Right.
There's a little bit of a score. There's a few lines of dialogue. So like seeing it in a dine-in theater, like no one could eat because if you clinked a glass, they're gonna get caught because you didn't know like whether it was like the person eating their meal or if they were about to be eaten by whatever these creatures are. It was so fucking tense. So if you're a fan of horror movies, this one is just terrific.
I loved him when I was little. Like I know that you're not.
I do not.
a fan.
But the fact of, like we were talking last week, like she said to him after one of the previews of an audience and they all cheered, she's like, "You just made a silent movie."
Oh, and it is.
I'm there's a curiosity within me of I want to see how they did it because I get what you're saying because most often it's the sound effects of everything else that and the dialogue and blah 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 blah. Well, this is the fact that there's no sound.
Yeah.
It's what gets you. But I still think I can
I'm gonna
make
have
it.
to just watch it on my phone, like in the sun.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm watching
at
it
the
outside
mall
theater.
with
Right.
everybody
but then
around
somewhere
you.
quiet
Right.
because you're so paranoid. They really sell you
Yeah.
hook, line, and sinker.
The trailer scares the crap
Right,
out of me.
I
Like,
agree.
I cannot.
And I haven't seen the trailer yet.
Oh, there's
I don't know
several
how
out
you
there.
mi-
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know
so
how you
fun.
missed it.
It's so fucking
Because I
scary. I
fast
turn it
forward
off
through
now.
everything,
If that trailer is the ad before a video I want to watch, I don't want to watch that video anymore.
Okay.
I shut the window.
Well, I'm gonna because I loved watching horror movies, and now I just haven't in years. I don't have a lot
No.
of time to watch movies, so I want it to be something either
I
more
just-
stimulating or whatever, but
And
Okay.
because of Get Out, and I was kind of
or
wondering,
funny
like,
or lighter.
yeah, which
Um,
is like Get Out has that 20 minutes where they go into comedy, and that movie just takes that turn where you're like just goofy and stupid laughing,
Sure.
and then you go back to like, well, now I'm really tense
yeah.
again. You know what I mean? Like this one doesn't. You don't get a break,
Yeah. Okay.
and it does these amazing things of like childbirth where you have to be quiet and like knowing that there's like a nail in the stair and like, oh my god, and like the one girl's deaf, so she can't hear that there's something. So like there's a creature behind her, but she's deaf, so she doesn't know it's there.
No.
Okay.
And you can't tell her because you have to be quiet. Oh my god,
No.
so goddamn tense.
Okay.
Nope.
And that is a movie. If someone tries to trick you into that and says,
So there really is a big monster in it?
yeah,
Oh my God, that's the whole premise.
No, but I'm
They
telling
live
you,
a
I
silent
didn't
life
know.
so that it doesn't come and eat
The
them.
monsters can hear like supersonic hearing,
Okay.
and they go towards the noise for their prey.
yeah, so they're blind, so you have to be quiet. So like the whole movie is
Oh, fuck that. No.
no.
It's like when they're standing there just dead still at the T-Rex and they can't move.
Right.
'cause
Yeah,
the T-Rex
right,
will see
right.
them.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. I love it, Harrison. Not enough dollars in this world.
No.
No, and it's one of those ones where I could not trick anybody. Like, there's a lot. Like, I would convince people to go see it because there's some light moments in it. It's a kids movie. You know what I mean? There's that camaraderie, that Stranger Things vibe
Okay.
in the middle of a terrifying movie. Because I don't know if I told you this, but I watched Happy Death Day and It on the airplane when I was on my flight.
Oh, wow.
Happy Death Day I got some jumps out of it, and I had seen it in the theater, but I still screamed twice on the plane.
Sure, the
But
passengers appreciated that.
I have to tell you, I watched It on the plane, laughed at the appropriate moments, But at that last 20 minutes, I was on an airplane scared out of my fucking mind.
You know
and the
there's
lights
no
are,
sewer.
And the lights are
There's
all
no-
down.
right.
You don't know where you flush that toilet,
No.
where that goes.
And my feet would not be on the ground.
No, Oh, it was, and it's it's pitch black on the plane, and I watched it, and I'm like, this was the worst idea I have ever had.
I feel like you come up with a lot of bad ideas with regards to watching movies at home alone, where you decide to either set the house on fire, move, you need an exterminator, anything. Like
And not because I haven't turned off all this cable. I haven't turned off all this goddamn cable. So now I'll just sit there at night and go through the movie channels because I've got 7 million of them and be like, well, what they got? And I'm like, oh, I remember that horror movie. That was kind of scary. And it always sounds like a good idea. Always. Whenever I'm home alone.
Never sounds
I'm
like a good
I
idea.
wonder what kind of movie I want to watch. I'm like, oh, horror sounds terrific.
Couldn't you just watch Berenstain Bears or Yogi or
Well,
find
because I was
something?
like, well, am I in the mood to cry or laugh? And
Watch Overboard again.
Yes.
Right.
And I just don't think they get comedies. Like, to me, it's like white wine. Like, they just don't get it right enough for me to enjoy a comedy. But a horror movie, it's a cheap seat.
Well, what about seeing it? Would you go to it at a drive-in?
I love drive-ins.
Would you go to that movie at a drive-in?
Yeah, but I feel like there's so much distraction that you don't get.
Sure.
I feel
The
like you
same
get taken
effect?
out of it because people are like going and everybody's like walking around, and if like you just never, I just never fall through the hole at a drive-thru. You just kind of sit there and drink. Drive-thrus to me are not about the movie; it's about being at the drive-in. I'm sorry, not drive-thru.
Right. That's when you go see an old movie that you know by heart and you wait for your favorite part.
Right. And you see it in a horror movie there because you scream when everybody else screams, but you're not.
I made Mom see Silence of the Lambs for the first time at a horror or at a drive-in, and my mom is like scared of everything. She almost took the end of the couch out when we were watching Fatal Attraction. When Glenn Close comes up, I thought we were losing the end of the couch, and I laughed and I laughed.
Now, Silence of the Lamb in the early 90s, because I think that one because that one draws you in. Because that's another movie that's told very, very quietly. So you kind of you get sucked in. So maybe a quiet thing would work because I think everyone would try to be quiet.
Like what's happening?
Yeah, you get so sucked into it that maybe you could fall through the hole there. The last movie I'll tell you about, Blockers.
Okay.
Cock blockers. That's where they have the rooster and the blockers.
Oh my God,
should not work, but it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they have air conditioning for just $8 American. You can have a lot of air conditioning. We're reaching that temperature now where I'm out on my bike and I'm like, what movie starts in 10 minutes? Because I'm hot. Very funny and a surprising place to find a touching, well-told lesbian story. Like, who knew that was hiding in there? I sure didn't.
All right.
Well, I didn't either. That's funny.
Yeah, that in the middle of the one parent's motivation is he's afraid that the girl is gonna have sex with a guy when she's a lesbian, and she hasn't come out to anybody, but he thinks she's
But
gay.
he knows, right?
And he's afraid she's gonna experiment with something that she doesn't want to do.
Okay.
So his goal is to stop her from having sex with a boy when she should really be having sex with a girl. So it was kind of a touching little twist
cute.
on a story, and she's out to find out, like, 'cause she wants to know, how do you find out you're gay, and so she thinks she has to have bad sex with a boy to find out that she really likes women. You know what I mean? And just in
It's
a
the hard way,
dirty,
but-
raunchy bridesmaids way,
Right.
they come to this happy lesbian love story that I was like,
That's
I was not
fantastic.
expecting this in this kind of trashy, I'm just here for the air conditioning movie. So that was a cute little twist.
So that happens in A Quiet Place? I'm not going to see this movie. If
No.
anything
No.
like that. Well, it says
No.
A Quiet Place.
No, that's the lady from all the Conjuring movies.
Oh, well,
Yeah, that doesn't look.
I don't want to see that either.
No, that's the old lady from the Conjuring movies.
Something's not right there.
Yeah, she's
'Cause it
she's
says A
terrific
Quiet
though.
Place, that's
And
why I'm
God bless that lady for all the work she's getting. She's in all those Annabelle movies and shit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, she's terrific.
That's weird.
So HBO, I just finally finished the first season of Westworld because it comes back again. What?
I haven't started yet.
A terrific show.
Is it? I've heard.
Yes. Well, bravo to HBO for once again coming up with another one.
I have HBO again, so I can go
Oh
watch
my
it.
God. Twists I did not see. I mean, twists. I was like, what the fuck? How did we get here? I had no idea. I just kept every episode.
Is it one that you actually follow? Because sometimes I watch HBO shows and I just I'm along for the ride and then I go, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Like
Well-
Game of Thrones is one of those that I'm like, this is the most engaging show that I leave and never know what happened.
Okay, so
and I read the damn books.
Okay, so what I will recommend to you, and this is my way through any show now since Lost, the wiki, because there is a nerd out there.
Oh, yeah,
God
that
bless
knows all the
he or
things.
she, because they help with all the questions.
Yeah.
And because of all my friends that are like, I don't understand Lost. Right, because we hadn't learned to watch TV all at once in one
I
sitting yet.
understood. Well, I watched most of Lost all at one time.
But if you watch the wiki page, and it'll tell you, like, okay, where did this, because something will happen, and you'll be like, and it'll be the middle of an episode that has to do with something 5 episodes ago, and you're like, oh, they did clear that up, but they did it in a really, like, bizarre way.
Really weird. Okay.
So, Westworld,
Do I need the wiki for the Westworld? Is what you're telling
there's
me?
a little section where I had to go to wiki because I had lost, and I may have dozed off. I had lost.
Also happens to me.
I had lost one storyline of the main character whose name even I was like, oh, I never considered that until I read the wiki page. They don't bring it up in the show,
Right.
but it turns out the name Dolores means of pain, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah, Dolores.
Interesting.
Dolores, it's of pain, and I'm like,
Oh,
It's too
Dollar
much.
is pain, I think.
so. It's crazy, but it's so good, and the twists in that last episode, and one of the twists had been blown for me in Italy, and I thought the guy that told me this story in Italy was a fucking genius. I'm like, you are so in tune with the universe and
How
smarter
drunk
than
were you?
everyone. Very drunk. Anyone I've ever met. And then I found out he was just giving me the Anthony Hopkins speech from the finale of Westworld. But in it is a very real thing that is in Italy
Okay.
that it's been hidden in plain sight in Italian art for 500 years, and someone just noticed the problem with one of the most famous paintings in the world.
Okay.
Interesting.
So and
Interesting.
it's real, and somebody had showed it to me in Italy, and I'm like, oh my god, right out of Westworld. But terrific. That is
All right.
that is terrific. So if you need my HBO password, let me know because we're sharing. Because I am paying way too much for cable. For like the entire world should get a Coke out of this thing.
No, my Sharon's mom finally
Oh, she
threw a fit and was like, I need my HBO back.
yeah.
And they had their own fight, and so now we're back on board. We're back in business.
And that really is. That's terrific TV. And the like, I love when I don't see twists coming. I mean, I was 100 miles away from what they were doing.
Oh wow.
And then at one point I was like, oh, I think I get this. Yeah, like 20 seconds before it happened. Like I got there just a second before they're like, well, this
Right
is
when
obvious.
they wanted you to get there.
We've told you everything. Have you got it yet? I was like, okay, I got it. So Daniel Craig has signed up for the 25th James Bond movie that may or may not be directed by one of my and Buddy Early's favorite directors, Danny Boyle, who gave us Slumdog Millionaire
Very
and
nice.
Train Spotters
Yeah.
and all kinds of good
Fucking
movies.
Train
Is it like James Bond, Shady Pines? I mean, like, isn't he
He's not even our age. Settle down.
Daniel Craig?
Yeah, he's late 40s at best.
Okay, well then.
Well, that's where
our
we
age.
are.
Yeah.
James
Yeah,
You're
but
not yours.
Settle down, Shady Pines. He's not that old.
James
Honest to
Bond
God, I
never
thought he was-
ages.
I
Yeah.
thought he was like at this point in his 60s, 70s.
I don't think they're gonna menudo him out yet.
All right.
And if I'm not mistaken,
Daniel Craig is 50 years old.
Right. So I mean, it's not Shady Pines yet. Like you're not going to a retirement.
But
home.
you said he's not even our age.
Right.
We're all there. We're on the same block.
I thought he was a couple. My apologies. I thought he was more like 46.
March
I really
2nd,
did. I thought
68.
he was-
March of 68.
I don't know. Did he start playing James
Three
Bond when he
quarters
was
of us
like
are there.
26?
And for perspective, Pierce Brosnan is 64, Sean Connery is 87.
So Sean Connery got out of it really early then.
Yeah, he really did.
And Roger Moore's dead.
Yep.
Yeah, he was. Roger Moore was older.
Well, he's not listed in part of the living, so I'm going to assume that
Roger Moore, I think, was the oldest man. Like he played it into Shady Pines.
In fact, didn't he just
Okay.
pass away last year? 'Cause
Yeah,
wasn't he just in the Academy Awards Memoriam, I think?
Yeah, I believe so. So, but Daniel Craig is back, and they've got a good director, and I mean, not many missteps in 25 movies. The last one I did not enjoy, and that's the one I dragged Clayton to.
I am correct. May of 17 is when Roger Moore died.
Yeah, so that makes him 101. So he was long in the tooth.
Yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
start playing that then. He started in 71. So he was
He was 89 when he died. Roger Moore was 89.
he was born in 1917?
No, I said he died in 2017.
Oh,
No,
I-
he was 89.
what?
So math.
So he was in his 40s when he played it too. So 40s to 50, that's about the right age. I think Sean Connery was just younger. Like, I think he was just a younger.
Oh no, I think you're right. I think he
Yeah,
was
like
much
I don't think they menudoed him out. I think he was just done. But it's
Oh wait,
it's
Morris was the first one he did in '73.
70,
Live and Let Die
Live
was
and Let Die.
'73. Golden Gun '74. Spy Who Loved Me '77, and then Moonraker in '79.
Oh, my favorite, The Spy Who Loved Me.
It seems like though Roger Moore would have started way earlier than that though. But
Emotional tears.
All
I've
right.
seen it movie so many goddamn times. That's it for that story. Let's get to this story. So let me see if I found it somewhere. So Ronan Farron.
Farrow.
Okay,
I like it. We all are on that one with him.
Jesus Christ. I can't know everything. I'm so bad with names. I really do have to. Okay, so here we go. Now I got the story the easier way. And he really is quite charming. And now there's this dirty rumor that I may have started that he is Frank Sinatra's son and not Woody Allen's son. And a couple years ago, I would have said, oh, and you know what's his face? Oh, Mark Martinez's friend, the blonde guy, Cooper, could play this guy in a TV movie. Like they look like.
Maybe he should.
But I thought that Ronan just looked too much like Frank Sinatra to be Woody Allen's son. But now that he's a tiny bit older, he just looks like his mother.
Oh,
Like
good.
there is no one else in that
So
face.
for point of reference, and I didn't know of him by any other way than all of a sudden he pops up on the news and I'm like, well, who is this reporter? Because he's so well spoken and he's so freaking smart. I didn't know who the hell he was until you text me back with him. So this is who we're speaking about right here. He's a good looking, clean cut kid. But
Yeah,
again,
he really
so,
does.
So here's a picture. Here's a picture with him and his mother. And right, yeah.
But
looks
get,
just like
get a picture with her with short hair.
That's
the 60s.
Yeah, the 60s. Like if you get a picture of her as Rosemary.
Rosemary. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby. And surprisingly, Mia Farrow, no Oscar nominations. Not only did she not have a win, I'm like,
Not
how
even
the
nominated?
fuck did she not get nominated? So he has now come out as a member of the LBGT, fill in the rest of the letters at your own leisure,
Right.
community. All his work with outing Harvey Weinstein, and he's considered like the person that got the Me Too movement started by putting it on the front page and getting all those people. You know, he got people to open up about their stories.
Keep going. I'm gonna show you a hell of a comparison.
So he got an award the other year, and being a part of in his Thomas Roberts, who I always forget is gay because I want to marry him too.
Oh.
And then I find out
Thomas Roberts.
Thomas Roberts from
NBC.
I didn't realize that either. Why don't?
I thought you guys were the ones that told me he was gay. I swear to God, you guys told me he was
couldn't
gay.
be me because I don't watch the
I don't know
news.
who
But
MSNBC cable news guy.
So you want to see a comparison of Mia Farrow with short hair and her son? So look at this. So obviously, Mia Farrow,
yeah,
short hair. Now watch this. It's the same person.
It's the same person.
For real.
But you know what? This is that picture that you see Frank Sinatra though. Like all of a
those
sudden,
eyes.
Oh, you did that badly because like look at that and not see Frank Sinatra. The nose, the lips.
Well, stand by. We're going to dig up a picture of old Blue Eyes.
Yeah,
Hang on
find a
minute.
young picture of Blue Eyes from here to eternity years. So Thomas Roberts was the person that presented the award from the Point Foundation. And Farrow said, being a part of the LGBT community, which recognized that reporting I was doing early on and elevated it, and has been a stalwart source of support through the sexual assault reporting I did involving survivors who felt equally invisible. That has been an incredible source of strength for me. LGBT people are some of the bravest and most potent change agents and leaders I have encountered, and the most forceful defenders of the vulnerable and voiceless, because they know what it's like to be there. The thing in this article, though, is I don't see where he actually comes out. And I've read it now in 2 different places. The Point Foundation makes it people feel seen and facilitate them in being part of the solution instead of just being another number and another tragedy. Oh, when asked how it felt to be one of the most high-profile LGBT journalists working today, Farrow said, "It's a huge honor." I did miss that part. Okay. He expressed gratitude for the community supporting him through his reporting from trans issues to his groundbreaking sexual assault and harassment stories, which helped change how society views victims. And he did, I think it was when he was maybe with the Today Show, something on NBC, where he did a year following that, the trans student, and he did a whole year story on her life and her struggles and attempted suicides and just really made public like all that this person had gone through. And it was a terrific story. Eve, a transgendered student he followed at Notre Dame for nearly a year, culminating in a feature for the Today Show. I guess if I just kept reading, I didn't have to make that up. Highlighting the experience of being trans, not only on college campus, but also in the United States. Life was seldom easy for Eve. She was denied access to women's housing. She was bullied and teased. Her own father never came around to calling her Eve or accepting her identity. She attempted suicide, and he said in his speech, "For people like Eve, life can be profoundly isolating. On her campus, she was literally alone, and she was the only transgendered person there. And the numbers tell us how dangerous that isolation can be when people aren't given support." I guess I should have read the rest of the article because, I mean, and that's how I found out that he was reporting. He was always doing those weird things with Mia, like, you know, the little personal vendetta against Woody Allen. Which I get.
Exactly.
I get it's your family, but I just didn't feel like...
That was the only way I really knew who he was.
Well, it's real damn simple in this day and age to figure out because we got these DNA tests flying around like a son of a bitch. You know, he can do that, and I mean, even if he did it with Nancy Sinatra, for Christ's sakes, we're gonna know.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, it's not...
So here's the picture of Ronan, and then I was looking for a very similar picture, but then like here's Sinatra.
Oh yeah.
It's that nose. He's got the nose. There's no getting around it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the eyes and stuff. It's just,
he is lovely.
Yeah, he's great. But again,
I'm worried he's very short though, because
that's going to be a problem for you.
For
is
you.
what
yeah.
you're saying?
Well, no, because Woody Allen
when they're dating,
Woody Allen and Frank Sinatra are notoriously short.
Right.
And
December
Mia does, and like when you see him pictured, like he never looks taller than anybody.
there is absolutely.
I mean, it's not fair to go on Rachel Maddow.
There is
5'10". He's 5'10".
Oh, good. All right.
There's also
a little length of bone.
Zero Woody
that suits
Allen
you just
near him.
fine.
Right, but I mean, but like when
There's
you
nothing.
So-
but when you
Woody
look at
Allen.
my two nieces, my older niece looks nothing like my sister,
Okay.
and my younger niece looks nothing like her father.
Okay.
Like
So-
they both, each one takes after a different parent, and I mean in totality.
Okay.
So part of getting older makes you realize, and like we've all, because we've all worked in the bars, and you realize that the kids that are now walking in that are able to drink legally were born long after.
And you're saying things like this. Oh, that has to be a fake ID.
Yeah, it can't be right. Ronan Farrow was born. I had already been hired and was working as Christmas help at a music land in Joplin, Missouri after graduating high school. He was born December of '87.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh dear God.
but he's 30. But he's a perfectly acceptable 31 years old.
No,
You
he
know what
is,
I mean?
right.
Yeah.
But still, it's like,
Still.
wow. It's just sometimes you get a little perception of life.
Yeah.
With those,
Oh, yeah, yes, it is shocking. So I will just say, as my final thought, that it is the 30th anniversary of Shark Week this year.
Very good.
And
Is it
Discovery
really?
announced Tuesday that Shark Week 2018 will kick off Sunday, July 22nd. As in previous years, the attack of programming will run for 8 days.
the attack of programming. That
This
was well
marks
written.
the 30th installment of the annual franchise, which features all sorts of shark-centric specials that aim to educate about the powerful predators of the sea while clearing up misconceptions. And I have to say, I went from someone who was afraid of sharks to someone who openly invites them to his beach experience.
And I not.
And all I tell people
Scares
is
the
if you
shit out of me. Those kind
just
oh
make
my
sure
God.
if I'm in the water and you see a shark, you get your goddamn cameras out and start filming.
Here you go, Al. There
Yeah.
you go.
I don't need to be alive to watch the Shark Week that I'm on. I just want to be on it.
I just want to be. Make that T-shirt for him.
That's
I'll
perfectly
commission that one.
Yeah.
I'll
Right.
pay for it.
Yeah, that's perfectly appropriate.
Yep.
I would wear that everywhere.
Go ahead back and
Because
get
I'm
the
gonna
exact
write this
words?
down.
Yeah.
Stand by.
I could not tell you how many people have heard me scream that at them from boats. Just take the video. I don't care if I'm
I
alive.
don't need a bigger boat. You need a bigger camera.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, get a close up.
Oh my God, Rachel Maddow, I forgot, is 5'11". She's an inch taller than Ronan Farrow.
But he looks so short on her show.
Well,
I swear to God, they put him in kiddie chairs wherever he shows
no,
up.
they just they keep her on a high chair so she's up above her. whoever
And his
she's-
suits always look too big for him. I'm very worried that he's a little short person.
Oh my God, Chris Matthews is 6'3". I did not realize that.
Oh, I watched a movie the other day that starred all of the tallest people in Hollywood. Liev Schreiber was in it. Liev Schreiber is notoriously tall. He's like 6'3" or 6'4".
Okay.
everyone in the movie was taller than him. And I was like,
Oh,
how
wow.
the fuck did you find a cast of actors?
Just a bunch of basketball
in
players?
midget-ass Hollywood.
Charlize Theron was in
But
it.
yeah,
so, you
yeah.
know, she
But it
taller.
was, there was no women. But
Yeah,
it
oh.
had James Cromwell and Ben Affleck, who's like 6'4" or
Yeah.
6'5". I always forget how fucking tall he is and how hard it is to cast women with him because he's gigantic.
Oh, no, I don't want a video of this. I thought it was a picture.
So there you go. So Shark Week, that's where I'll be July 22nd. And I'm sure I'll bitch about whatever mock-you drama they come up with that pisses me
Right.
off. But then I'll be back on board.
Okay, it's just stupid the things you'll find. There is a how tall is Rachel Maddow comparison chart to the tallest man in the world ever, and then it goes down to other people, including a little guy who's a foot tall. Weird things you find on. Do not Google fantasypositions.com looking for a job.
Point taken.
Line stolen from Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Line-
she's
I haven't
pissing me off left and right. Like, they did not need to give her back a microphone.
No?
She is all about conspiracy. Turns out she was posting about that conspiracy theory with Hillary running the pedophile ring out of the pizza shop. She was shitting on the kids from Parkland. Like, she's awful. She has lost her mind and gone from like a champion for the little guy to now being Alex Jones with boobs. Like, she's nasty. The stuff that she is posting and then deleting the next day is just fucked up. And we did that story last week about her mouth, and it's like, I mean, I hate to say her mouth like it's a problem, but she is gonna be. It's gonna be a race to the finish line to see how long they keep her on board.
Ratings.
Changing back to a different topic movie. A movie that I want to see just because I don't think she can virtually do anything wrong. And other movies that she has done that you think were just going to be stupid apparently came out really well, like Tammy and some other things. The Life of the Party, the new Melissa McCarthy, where she goes back to college.
That looks funny.
I just want to see the whole segment where she goes to prom or whatever the dance is, and she's dressed like the 80s and then does all the dances. I think that's just got to be very cute. But
she's funny.
I just love her.
Love her.
Completely love Melissa McCarthy. Even if you go back and watch Mike and Molly episodes, still she just glows through.
I loved her on Gilmore Girls.
I never was a Gilmore Girl person. Oh my God, really? How far back are we going with that?
Like,
because I remember the Gilmore Girls from the early 2000s. Is that what you're talking about?
She's the chef. She's
No
Sookie,
idea.
the best friend.
I never saw the series.
What?
A lady I worked with, her daughters and her were into that whole series.
Oh yeah.
Loved
The
it.
Gilmore
She's
Girls.
Sookie, right?
Yeah,
Did
that's
not
where
know.
she came
She's
from.
the bestie. That's
Didn't-
where we got her in the first place.
No, I didn't. I never knew. Still doesn't give me a reason to watch Gilmore Girls, but I'll watch.
Oh, just to find out if anyone can talk that fast. I consider it a personal
Lauren
challenge.
Graham was the only reason I needed. Like, that was all.
I'm sure it was.
Stop.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
So just because we have
As you were on your farm
they're-
watching baseball.
They're witty and fun, and they talk fast, but she's real pretty.
So here's some trivia about our boy. Son of Mia and Woody Allen, although Mia said Frank Sinatra may have been the father. So I guess he has decided to not get the paternity test.
He should, though.
Considered a genius by some, at 11 years old, he was the youngest student to ever attend Simon's Rock High School for Gifted Students, run by Bard College in Massachusetts. He then graduated with his BA degree at age 15. He's like Dookie fucking Howser.
Meanwhile, people in Oklahoma are just getting laid by teachers at 15. He's graduating school.
As a teenager, was a spokesman for UNICEF in Africa. I'd seen that. It is a Yale-trained lawyer, diplomat, author, and most recently host of an MSNBC weekday TV show. And he left that.
Yeah,
he was a Rhodes Scholar.
He and NBC parted
just
ways.
like,
There was an investigation. Wait, am I incorrect on that? Was it NBC or was it another news agency? He had been working for a long period of time on something that nobody else thought was ever going to be fruitful, was ever going to bear any fruit, and he figured it all out and traced it forever.
That's the Weinstein story.
Oh my God, my bad, totally wrong. Yeah, it was. But was it NBC?
NBC turned it down, and that's why.
Who turned it. Okay,
and that's right. That's why he left the MSNBC job, and he had to go independent to bring it back to them, and then
Rachel had him on. What I think about everybody on that network probably had him on, but yeah, I forgot it was the Weinstein story.
And for those of us that were fans in the '80s, kind of like what happened to Leaf Phoenix, and why is there a Joaquin Phoenix? And then you find out they're the same person. That Leaf changed his name back from the hippie stuff to his birth name of Joaquin.
I didn't know that.
I never knew that.
Oh, because if you watch Parenthood with Steve Martin,
Yeah.
the little kid is
Yeah.
Leaf Phoenix. Well, it turns out that's River Phoenix. That's the kid because he's so good in Parenthood.
Joaquin.
Joaquin.
Not Joaquin, but his
I'm
name
like,
was
what?
Leaf in the movie.
Like I thought
He was
River
billed as
dead.
Leaf Phoenix, so I always wondered, like, so where did Leaf Phoenix go?
Sure.
But he just changed his name after a couple years and went back to he got rid of the hippie thing. So it turns out that the boy that I could never figure out where it went to, Ronan, is Satchel.
Yes,
so if you remember the
yes,
end
yes.
of the end of the Woody and Mia years, their baby Satchel that's named after
That's
the baseball
right.
player. When
Satchel
Woody
Paige.
left,
Yep.
she changed his name to Ronan because she
Got
didn't want
it.
the association.
That makes
So if you were wondering what happened to Satchel Allen, Satchel Farrell, this is him.
Oh,
She just changed his name.
I was
Oh,
not wondering.
the things you'll
I was
learn, the
not wondering
places
what
you'll
happened,
go.
but that's very interesting.
Down rabbit holes right and left, won't
Yeah.
you? My
Straight down
heavens.
the rabbit hole.
All right, well then let's move on to this.
Two things is what she brings. Two things is what she's talking about. Two things, important little things. That is what she's spouting out.
You just need two things.
That means two things.
Let's get two things clear.
And then two things about yourself.
And I've come to share with you one of two things. No, two of two things. We're sharing two things right now.
There are only two things I can't stand in this world.
Quick, grab two things you love.
It can be two things.
Only two things in the world I'm scared of.
Rise of frazzled two things.
Remember two things.
I believe in two things.
Guys are only after two things.
What's better, doing two things at once or just one?
Never half-ass two things. Whole ass one thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kat Carlson.
Well, if you're a viewer, you saw that we were whole assing it with two things on the screen.
Yeah. And if you didn't catch it, if you didn't catch it, I'll recreate it. So the first thing I did is I had the wrong graphic and I put that one up, and then to fix it, I'm like, well, let's just do this, realizing two different lines of graphics.
The same. Yeah,
but
on the same page.
there's two entirely different things on the screen at once. Before I got to that,
Two thoughtful, vulgar things.
and so there we go. So now we're back to, my God.
We don't know what we're doing.
Well, that
we
guy-
don't know what we're doing.
We never have.
Yeah.
Why start now?
Why end a streak that's going
So well.
nice?
Going
Yeah.
wonderfully.
I'm-
Well,
I'm gonna have a sour
I'd sell all
sloth.
of you for a.
have a
oh,
sour
I
sloth.
want one of those. And
It's
these-
in your hand. That's what they are.
I was just
I
wishing
ate
for
all the
something,
worms. I'm sorry.
something gummy-ish.
But there it is.
There you have
I'll
it.
pick up more next week. Well, speaking of things that might be ending their run, the Facebook. Yep. Zuckerberg endured hours-long grilling by dozens of senators
5.5,
today.
something like that.
Yeah.
I listened to some of that.
Did you?
Oh, I did too.
Yeah. I listened to none of it, but I found an article and highlighted some passages.
Fair.
So perhaps you can comment with more insight than
Yeah.
I've got, because I thought, well, this might be a good topic. Because I don't have shit to say, so I'm going to just pop
Fair.
it up there
I
and
like
let
it.
you people
Yep,
have
yep.
shit to say. But
Continue on.
the thing that I do have to say is that I feel like Facebook has outlived its usefulness.
Okay.
Remember when everybody
2016.
Remember when everybody just inexplicably left MySpace? It's time, people.
Okay.
It's time. I don't know what the new thing is, but it's time. I'm over it. In any event, it seems that kind of the gist that we're going to get out of all of this is whether or not Congress decides that social media needs more regulation, especially in the advertising. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
What are we watching?
Apparently something more interesting than your story would be my guess, according to him.
That's fair. I texted all the way through his segment. So.
Sorry. Was not expecting that.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, Zuckerberg, of course, did the whole "I take responsibility." He says we didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry. I started Facebook. I run it. I really just wanted it to get girls, and now I'm responsible for this whole big fucking thing. Poor you. Poor you.
I
Well,
felt
what are you
that he
gonna
was.
do to change it?
He was.
Not a lot.
I expected.
Make it his top priority. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, but
And didn't the stock go up after he spoke? Like,
Well,
didn't
of course
they
it did.
finish?
Oh, I didn't catch that
I'm
part.
sure it did.
I really expected him to come in a hell of a lot more prepared because he's had all this time because he's waited and he's waited.
Because he's been
waited.
hiding, right?
Yeah.
So I expected him to come in with a hell of a lot more data and information and figures than
but
he
it's
did.
better for him not to, because if he can be like, I'm not sure, we'll get back to you about that or whatever.
I'll have
then-
my staff get back to you. He did a lot of that, which I was not happy with. But
because
again,
if he gave facts, then he has to.
Then he's stuck with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was very. I don't know. That he anticipated all of that and was just not going to give them anything.
I guess there were two sides of this, and I'm not meaning just to poo-poo on your
No,
story.
please do.
Because I want you to read whatever highlights you thought were interesting as well.
They probably weren't that interesting.
You don't have 70-year-old people who have no fucking idea how to use Facebook asking questions about Facebook because they barely know how computers turn on. Because you realize almost all of those old guys, some of the other people do not, but a lot of the old people, they have a staff that does any social media they've got.
Oh, sure.
They all do. They didn't even write their own emails. Like they may dictate something and somebody figures out how to, type it into a slate plate and the Flintstones send it off somewhere. But I thought that it was kind of ironic to see all these old guys asking questions about things that they have no idea. But I feel like most of the gals are young enough, or maybe they're savvy enough. But the old guys have been there since time began. Like they built the Capitol around them.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of funny, but I'm still, and then some of the other things they were asking, something like, well, where does your revenue come from? And literally Zuckerberg's like, we sell ads.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
what? How did you not figure that one out? Like, how do you not already know that? I just kind of thought it was
Well,
odd.
sometimes you ask those questions just to have someone say them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, maybe so, but I don't think that guy.
can't remember
legitimately
what they were.
realized-
I don't
like,
know. I don't know that that most people that use Facebook realize ads are forced on them. Like I know that people that with YouTube know it, but I don't think they realize the things in the
Quite
middle.
how many ads or
how many things in there are paid advertisements. You know what I mean? And I think that's what needed to be put on record. Is people think, oh, that's just another story, and you're like, no,
it's targeting you.
That's a link to some horrible site.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. Because I order parts for friends and fix things. So let's say for example, I looked on Sears Parts website, completely disconnected from Facebook altogether. And I'm looking up something. Inevitably, later that afternoon, there will be Sears Parts ads on my Facebook page.
Oh, sure, yeah, and the
anything from
just the way
Amazon,
that information jumps from venue
Browser
to
to
venue.
browser, right.
And there'll be like this horrible, shocking headline that makes it look like you sent it to me, but what it says is Clayton likes the New York Times, and then I get this New York Times headlines that looks like you
and then it
sent
says at
to
the bottom,
me.
sponsored.
Sponsored by, right. So that's the kind of stuff, and we all knew it. We knew it a year and a half ago as you were having conversations, 2 years ago now, you were having conversations with rational people, Bernie supporters that were telling you these things. You're like,
what?
Where did you get that Hillary
right.
killed 41 people?
Right.
And they're like, no, it's the truth. It's been proven. And you're like,
how
what?
do you figure?
And then you find out that there were all these ads that people were, instead of like looking at it and being like, well, what the fuck is that? And moving past it, they're reading it because they thought they had a news source, or it would say, this person liked this.
Or you and I had vetted it, so they're going to buy. Well, Al vetted it.
Absolutely.
But it had nothing to do with us. It's just that thing had sold like Lysol that I was like, well, I like Lysol, I guess. But I have.
Well, it doesn't really.
Right, but I have learned now with products and stuff like that to not like that stuff because that keeps showing up and looking like I've recommended it to you and I had nothing.
I will continue to like Lysol ads because I believe in it.
Right?
Everyone does.
I actually spend so little time on Facebook now compared to.
I thought you were going to say cleaning, but okay.
So you do
I'm at an all-time low, yeah.
So you do talk to Sharon.
That's funny. I like
Because
that.
it's
Thanks
true.
for that. Because it's super true.
No.
No, like compared to 2 years ago, I spend so very little time on Facebook. Partly because it's the same thing all the time. Like that algorithm has been so fucked up that I get 4 people. The end.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Whatever. I'm out of here.
Oh, I have to dig
got
to
nothing
find
do.
you.
Yeah.
Like I have to seriously interrogate Facebook to show me things that you've done. Like for some reason
That's
you are
weird.
not on my algorithm. But then they had a friendship anniversary with us of all the things that we've liked of each other, and I'm like, then why do I gotta work so goddamn hard to find her
How
stuff?
do I gotta get to
Oh, I
that?
have you all set so that I'm alerted the minute you post something.
Yeah, I had
Can't tell.
But I did have to stop that with.
But
with,
but I've only
with
done it for
some,
select people. I don't have it for
Yeah.
everybody.
I've done it for like, I think 2 people.
Yeah, because there are some people that pop up on mine that I'm like, what? Who?
Yeah, like his pops
Like,
up all the
I've
time.
never
Yours
looked-
not
yeah.
that often, and yours I have to dig.
Yeah,
and
that's
like Aaron doesn't.
weird.
At first, I thought Aaron unfriended me because I was like, why is it taking this
Yeah.
long to get to like an Ernie post?
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah,
then people that I
the
haven't talked to in
algorithm's odd.
years are like always at the top, always at
Right.
the top, and I'm like,
Right.
but they're obviously finding something that we're posting similar.
Right, in common,
things.
right, that it thinks that you want to see those things.
Right.
It's so weird and so just frustrating anymore. It's very interesting to me, this fine line that they're trying to walk from Facebook between, especially with like the election stuff, and saying, oh no, those ads didn't affect anything, but look how effective our ads
right.
are.
Right.
Like
Oh,
that's
and
that's
right.
my favorite part of this whole thing.
Yeah,
is
that's
the
your point.
is the oh no, that didn't affect anything, but buy our ads
Because
they're
look
so
what
very
we can
effective.
do.
And they are so very effective. You know what I mean? Like, I've bought ads for all kinds of different things on Facebook, like promoting fundraisers and promoting the bar and whatever. They fucking work.
Oh yeah, I mean that
Yeah.
AIDS walk has made a ton of money because of our use of the
Sure.
Facebooks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I look at it and think, as far as like getting bored with it or getting this, you might not see a lot of my stuff because I don't post as often on it. But
You barely read text messages and respond
I
within
know
a week.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because
There's like 5 texts I'm still waiting for you from like the last year.
Oh, I'll go back and
It's
look.
kind of irrelevant now, but
oh,
I mean,
well, just in case, I'll go back.
Are you
and
on
look.
fire?
You know,
Sorry.
I'm not sure.
the rash
Yeah.
cleared up. I'm gonna
Yeah.
live. So
Here's what I would do. I would
Text
reply.
me a second time.
Here's
and
what I
be
would do.
like, Help!
I would reply with like a time and a day. Be like Tuesday at 8:00, and then I would reply with okay,
Just
sounds great.
Get it?
yes, no, yes, maybe.
They
Yeah.
sell a specific salve for that.
Tuesday at 7. Next message. Okay, sounds great. Next message. Much better, thank you. Next message.
And then you know he'd respond with, "You only needed to respond to 5 things, and now there are 7 answers."
Yeah.
So now
I
you're
don't know
just
what
making
goes
shit
on.
up.
So I know that one of the people on the Senate committee said to him that your terms of agreement or your whatever that's called
Right.
is one of the worst ever.
And no one's ever read it.
And no, of course
But and
not.
his response was, "You've got to keep it short enough to engage people, otherwise they're just gonna." Like his comeback was
Right.
because who reads it?
Yeah.
Nobody's
No.
gonna read 45
And that's
pages
one
of
of the funniest
legalese.
South Park episodes is
Yeah.
when they find out that they signed up to be in the Human Centipede. That's what they
Because
agreed
it was in the
to.
terms of service.
And
guess
they
I
took
haven't-
Steve Jobs like to the cross on that one.
Oh.
And they make Steve and this because he said nothing. The
Oh wait, is that where they do the thing about the new iPad comes out and it's 3 people all butted to get like
Yes,
face to
Human
ass together?
Centipede, yeah.
Got it. I have seen that episode.
show shares for Facebook spiked 4.5%. That's a lot. As Zuckerberg spoke, watch more analysis below. And they're saying because he didn't say much and he kept himself out of the complete hot seat.
Right.
Because I mean,
But at the same time, polls for people that are like very concerned about their privacy and the invasion thereof, that poll has spiked from 13% of people being very concerned to 43%.
yeah. And you're gonna see accounts starting to be deleted. But then if Instagram is selling drugs, like where do you go?
Instagram is owned by Facebook. Incidentally, people,
Yeah.
Right.
if you are deleting Facebook and looking for another social media outlet,
There isn't one.
well, first of all, Instagram's not it because it's literally owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a couple of them out there that are kind of interesting that might gain a little
Wicker.
traction. No, that's a messaging app. Oh, I have to install that.
Well, they
I
also
remember
own
that.
WhatsApp.
heard
I didn't
that.
realize that they
Yeah,
own
Facebook
WhatsApp.
owns WhatsApp,
Okay.
which is a
International
an
texting.
encrypted. It's
Yeah.
an encrypted end-to-end messaging system. So if somebody intercepted that data through the air or through your Wi-Fi or whatever, they
They're
wouldn't be
gonna
able
get it somehow.
Well, no, but you can't break that encryption. Like I can't intercept that signal as you're sending a WhatsApp message to somebody else and actually get that information because it's an end-to-end encryption.
Okay.
So that's a direct link where you're sending information. So that's actually a fairly
Oh, if fucking Trump would have just realized that, that would have been his back
Right?
channel.
Oh, shit.
He could just use that.
you could just
Fuck.
You just send kick messages.
From
Maybe
Trump Tower
that's
to the
a-
Kremlin, it would have
yeah.
been perfect.
Well, I
He's
didn't
dumb.
realize that
He's
about
dumb.
WhatsApp. I only have used it because a few friends who have traveled internationally, and they weren't going to have service. We would text back and forth using that. But I didn't realize it was an encrypted end-to-end service.
Yeah, and then I kind of play around with Snapchat just because two of the girls I grew up with are on it, so that's how I communicate with them. And it's been kind of fun.
The filters are fun.
It's been kind of fun to play with that and get little snaps of people's day. There's absolutely nothing political on there. It's just pictures of something you're doing or where you're at or what you're eating or drinking, and it's very lighthearted. It's very pointless.
Sure.
It's a quick snap and be like, oh, I like that play. You know what I mean? And you
That's
can
how Facebook started.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how MySpace started.
But,
well, I take that back. MySpace started because it was a music sharing thing.
Yeah.
And then it
that's
developed.
right.
It developed
That's
everything else.
absolutely right.
Yeah, and they still try to keep the music roots to that. But yeah, that's how that started.
Yep.
Oh, I forget. Yeah. And I do have to say, in a related, although it won't seem so.
Do
at first,
you have to say it
I have
like
to
that?
Yes. Because I have to think about because I just realized that we passed the anniversary of the event, and I was reading. Because one of my favorite things about Facebooks is like on this day, this many years ago.
Sure.
I had just reread a lot of the Paterno stuff.
Ah, yeah.
And to me, and it may have been earlier than that, but that to me is when Facebook got political and personal and a little mean. Was
people defending Uncle Joe,
Joe Pa,
or whatever.
Oh, right.
Whatever
like the grossness of finding out that your friends were like more aligned with a college football team than they were to victims of child rape.
Right.
That they were like, no, like that's when you're like, oh, I know people that belong to a cult that aren't ready to call it. So they just had the Paterno movie on HBO this Sunday. Disturbing because it just brought it was very real. It was very like the people versus O.J. Simpson, where I kept expecting them to like shout out my posts on Facebook about it, about the ugliness of that night. And so it really, I mean, he's more of a supporting character, Paterno. It's more about the whole
Sandusky kind of.
No, it's just more about the culture. It's not really about one man. It's about like how it was exposed, how everyone reacted, the protests when they fired him, and the people were protesting, and like the befuddlement of the family. And there's a really great moment where like they're sitting around with the family, and everyone's trying to understand like, what did you know, how did you like, what did you do,
right?
And he was like, well, I didn't want to ruin anybody's weekend, so I waited till Monday. And she's like, if somebody fucks one of my kids, I don't want you waiting till Monday to tell somebody about it. And this is his daughter, and you're like.
Right.
It just becomes really personal as like, and they talk about the stuff like Sandusky kind of played with his kids when they were young, and like the wife says the wife has this whole speech about, you know, you were busy, so when they went to play in the pool and they were doing stuff, it was Uncle Jerry that was playing with them when they were boys, and like the nightmares that puts in his head of like, he just. Yeah. And I do kind of buy the old man excuse of like he really just didn't put together that what he was seeing was child rape. Like he just couldn't see the rapist in his friend, and when presented with it all, and he, you know, they kind of do it through flashbacks, kind of like the Iron Lady of like, oh my God, what was I watching?
Yeah.
And you just like and that maybe why he died 73 days later or 75 days later. Like he died immediately afterwards, and you just have to wonder like, did it just kill him when he put the pieces together of like.
What was going on?
What the fuck? That this guy was bringing 11-year-old dates to like banquets
with older people. I mean, you do hear people dying of broken hearts, and I mean, I'm not equating it to somebody who lost a love.
That's exactly what I mean.
He literally may have just been so ungodly mortified about what had happened with all of this that his heart was broken, and he's like, I just can't go on anymore,
and just can't find his way from. I thought they were just horse playing to. He was raping children, you know, and not to defend him in any way.
No, God, no.
No, but you could just, it was very well done. But when, and you like the people voicing their, like they don't show CNN, but you can hear the commentators on CNN fighting as they're showing like their riots, and you hear the people being like, are they seriously not taking the side of the raped child? Like, and you can hear, and it just brought all of that back, that whole CNN of like, people like defending Joe Pa, and first of Joe Pa, I mean it's a cult fucking leader.
Yeah.
So really good television.
Sounds
Again,
like Fox News defending the gunman against the students.
Oh,
sure.
Well, speaking of horrible anniversaries, thing number 2, just so that you know, Musical theater fans might know that in 1978, God changed his mind about black people. Well, it is the 40th
True.
anniversary of the Mormon Church changing their mind about black people being allowed in their lay priesthood. Because, you know, all the men that believe are
And the men
in
will
the
speak.
priesthood.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
And the Mormon Church says it will celebrate the upcoming 40th anniversary of God changing his mind about black people.
By now letting in Asians or Jews?
No, I don't. I
or
think they're
what are we
just gonna.
doing?
I think they're just gonna.
They're just gonna stop at the blacks.
I think they're just gonna make some punch.
Okay.
Jonestown. I see where we're going
No,
to
no,
this.
no, no, no. Icky Red Mormon punch is a thing. So if you if you go to a gathering of an LDS family, perhaps a wedding or a birthday or something, my family calls it Icky Red Mormon punch, and it's this god awful combination of like fruit punch, like Hawaiian punch, fruit punch, and Sprite.
Okay.
And perhaps some sort of fruit juice, and they like mix it all together and serve it to everyone. It's Icky Red Mormon punch. No, it's a thing.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to figure out why the fuck I would ever go to a
Why would
wedding
we
or
be
any
there?
of one of those
Yeah.
events.
But you can't go in the church. You'll go to the party
Well,
afterwards.
right. When you live in Salt Lake City, people invite you over to their house for different things, and that's what's being served. And sometimes, you know, those people are your cousins, and so you show up.
Yeah.
And you show up.
Huh.
In any event,
There's
happy
a really-
anniversary,
There's
Mormon
a
Church.
really fun Donnie and Marie interview
Oh, God.
from maybe 76 or 77, and
Uh-huh.
it may be what made them change their mind when America's most wholesome, their brother and sister couple
Little bit country
did an
Little
interview
rock and roll?
about their thoughts on black people, and it's
Is it
uncomfortable. It's on YouTube.
awful?
Oh, it's on
Oh
YouTube.
my God,
It's
I'll
on
have to go
YouTube.
find it.
Oh.
It takes seconds to find, and it's just horrible. But I'm convinced that they had to rewrite Mormonism like the next week.
Well, because that was their cash cow, the Osmond
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Apparently, the celebration day is going to be June 1st, so mark your calendars.
Okay.
Yeah, mark your calendars. There is to be a celebration in Salt Lake City on the 1st of June.
We should go.
I'm very excited.
We should
honestly.
go.
I'm very excited. Incidentally, it's really been effective.
Wait a minute, I just caught
yeah.
something. In the punch, what did you say there was 7-Up Sprite? What did you say they put in it?
And like some kind
Like
of fruit
7-Up
juice.
and Hawaiian Punch.
Okay, because
And
I
fruit
thought one of the ixnays on the inking drays, you can't have soda. You can't have any kind of a
No, it's caffeine.
It's caffeine. However,
No. Okay.
However, Diet Coke is allowed, largely because the Mormon Church for a long time was one of the largest shareholders of the Coca-Cola Company. And so you were...
That explains why that fucker I used to work with at Train Air Conditioning used to drink Diet Coke.
Oh, it's Diet Coke. Oh, yeah.
I had
It's
no idea about
100%
that.
Diet
I couldn't
Coke.
stand
Yeah,
it.
and it's something about hot beverages. There's something. It's hot beverages and something. There is some, like
Right. There's
Okay.
it's a weird thing with caffeine because they don't drink coffee and they don't really drink tea. Diet Coke's okay, but yeah, it's always just...
I do appreciate
Red
that
Mormon
in a
punch.
religion you can be like, well, we'll let Diet Coke
Right.
in.
Yeah.
And we'll let black people in now.
In case you're wondering how effective the change of heart has been,
I was just thinking that, Kat.
of the
it's a Barbara Walters interview. We'll watch it after.
of the 16 million Mormons worldwide, black people are still just a small, like
7 of them.
3%. Yeah, there's
Okay.
still
8 people.
and it's
Those are
awful.
not flocking.
It's awful, but you can open my high school yearbook, and there are 3 black kids in the school. The end.
I would say that. But
Well,
the same
isn't that the
is true of
whitest state?
mine.
No, the whitest
The
state
same
is
true of
Iowa, right?
mine.
I think so.
I think it's like there's like the whitest state is Iowa, but Utah's like 2 or 3. Like,
Pretty close. Yeah.
I remember that. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
same in my high school
David Letterman's. I have the books at home. His the book of top 10 lists.
Okay.
And the one is top 10 because Brooke Shields went to Yale and she famously like left Hollywood to go to Yale for 4 years. So he had to think of like her top 10
Okay.
thesis projects, and one of them was everything I hope to say to a black person when I finally meet one.
That's funny.
And the other one was lather, rinse, repeat, a chemical process in 3 stages. Like,
That's awesome.
David Letterman was awful to her. Tanya Harding should really not feel bad.
Fair point.
I'm a trained assassin.
No,
But
you're not.
But I am.
I gotta spend the $3.99 on
But I
iTunes,
am.
but I am.
That's fantastic.
Hang on, I'm reading through a list of top 10 lists. I'm trying to find the name of it somewhere in here. What did you think it was called?
It's called Brooke Shields thesis topics or something like
oh,
that.
Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
I just put top things to say.
Oh no. Oh my God! You know what? I should bring those books over and we should just read them one night. There is some funny shit on there. The top 10 least popular children's books. Curious George, The Electric Fence.
Oh, I think I found it. Hang on a minute. Top 10 papers written by Brooke Shields at Princeton.
Oh, she went to Princeton. My bad.
Number 10, William Shakespeare. His poetry rates a 10. Number 9, a chemical process in 3 stages: lather, rinse, repeat. Number 8, girls with thin eyebrows, hideous freaks of nature. Number 7, Cliff Notes versus Monarch Notes. 2 views of Hamlet. Number 6, circles, flowers, a smiling guy, so many ways to dot the I. Number 5, the pushy overbearing mother figure in literature.
It's about her mother, Terry.
Number 4, pretty leaves I found outside somewhere. Number 3, black Americans, what I hope to say when I meet one. Number 2, philosophy. Why don't they spell it with an F? And the number one paper written by Brooke Shields at Princeton, the male organ, what it might look like.
Because she was famously saving herself for marriage.
Oh my God. Oh, there's an entire website devoted to his
I
top
have
10.
2 complete books just of top 10 lists, and it's up there with Miss Piggy's Guide to Life of things that when I'm feeling blue, I'm like, let's just read a couple.
This one.
The top 10 names for Robert Bork's beard. number 10 was the Chin Slinky.
And if you just listen to Pod Save, did you listen to the interview with Joe Biden?
Oh, dear God.
Yes.
They had a whole thing
so
on
lovely.
Robert Bork. Like that's
Uh-huh.
Well, he's the whole fucktard that, the Saturday Night Massacre. And his name just keeps coming up all the time.
No. Robert Bork was a nominee for the Supreme Court that got denied in committee.
Right, but wasn't Bork also the one who, in the Saturday Night Massacre, when they went down the list, he's the one that said yes and fired the special counsel, or fired whoever the fuck it was.
True.
I'm certain it is.
Weird.
Yeah, if you go back.
How do you spell his last name?
BJORK. I think it's BJORK, like Bjork. I think that's right.
No, it's.
Or was it BORK?
BORK, the traditional spelling.
Oh, I actually.
But I'm pretty certain he was the one who finally.
He was Attorney General under Nixon.
Yeah, so he's the one.
So yeah.
And I only know that because of the modern.
Was he fired or did he do
4.1
he's
Saturday
the one that,
Night Massacre. Stand by.
He's the one that agreed to do it.
On October 20th, 1973, Solicitor General Bork was instrumental in the Saturday Night Massacre when President Nixon ordered the firing of Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox.
Wow.
Yes. Well done.
Well, that kind of explains how he lost in committee.
Interesting, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
Because the top 10 list is from him being kicked, not being allowed even. He didn't even make it to the Senate.
In his posthumously published memoirs, Bork stated that following the firings, Nixon promised him the next seat on the Supreme Court. Nixon was unable to carry out the promise after resigning.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Wonder why that never happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
But eventually, in '87, Reagan nominated Bork to the Supreme Court.
But
and,
it's
and
been,
Uncle Joe kept him off it.
and it's been very interesting
God
when
for
you
Uncle
when
Joe.
you do realize the players in the game that are still around or
Still playing.
No, but it's really interesting because when all this, who else is named Bork? So when Jill, oh God, what's her name? The prosecutor from the
Watergate,
Jill,
yeah.
Jill
Blonde and wears the wrong lipstick all the time.
Right, and wears the pins.
Sure.
She's on all the time.
A lot.
She's on all MSNBC all the time. But anyway, she just kept bringing up his name, and I'm like, it's got to be the same fucking guy. And then when you watch back the old 70s, like the CNN, this is the 70s and all that bullshit.
Jill Wine-Banks.
Jill Wine-Banks. He pops up, and he looks like the same little weasel back then. And I'm like, oh, so then that name just permeates through all the different eras
And that's
of
so funny
politics.
because I told you I listened to that Watergate podcast.
That was such a great podcast, by the way.
And I honestly did not remember.
Didn't put the name. Well, because you can't remember names.
Yeah.
Right?
That's valid.
Oh, thank you.
But Bork, I would think you'd get Bork.
I just never put it together that it was the same person. I just thought 2 women, 1 last name. It's not uncommon.
I will give you a way to remember that.
What?
Think of the Swedish Chef.
Oh, I was going to go with the singer Bjork.
Oh, I was going to, because Swedish Chef.
I barely know your people's name. I'm not going to remember a Muppet's name.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Trying to get there somewhere for you.
That's really a fair point. I
Perhaps
think
if we
more
just
for me
name
than
people
anyone
after
else,
wine.
But
I know 4 Muppets names.
Yeah, one of them is Marnie.
Oh, I thought you looked familiar.
Well,
Top 10. Top 10 Donahue topics.
I love your work.
If dogs ran the Donahue show. The number 10, worm pill addicts.
Not okay.
Oh my God. It's just too fucking
We'll
funny.
never
fellas.
see you again because let me tell you, those lists
I'll
will
just
keep,
be right. I'll
he
be
was
here.
on for 20-some years. Those
I'll
lists
be
will keep you
reading
busy.
forever. All right. Do we have a reason to go into thoughtful? Do we got anything or no?
Oh, I think we were as thoughtful as we can be.
I think that's pretty much it.
thoughtful.
Cool.
You think so? Think we're good?
I think Meow Cal is right though. Getting off the social media sometimes not a bad idea. Go
Oh,
outside,
sure.
enjoy the fresh air.
Yep.
Agreed.
Well done, Meow. Of course, he can't go outside because it's really fucking cold.
Yeah.
Sorry, Meow. I just had to.
It's 100 degrees
You
colder
could also
Yeah.
enjoy the manufactured inside air of a movie theater.
Correct.
There
also
is that.
acceptable.
Yeah, but you have to get there in Minnesota. Fuck that.
You gotta get there here too.
Soda sold
I'd
separately.
be okay with that. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm exhausted.
Wow.
I can't imagine how you
Very,
all
very,
feel.
very, very
Even the
tired.
listeners.
I'm still tired.
I'm sure you are. Well, you get some time to. You'll be fine now. You'll be good. We'll get there.
Better?
Anywho, we hope to make it another day. But as we wrap up tonight's show, let's leave you with this parting thought. We will see you next Tuesday.
David, what does burning smell like?